Hard for others doesn't mean hard for me. I had every confidence. You all come tomorrow. I'll show you something. The next day dawned clear after snow. I drove the three-wheeler, my little company of women aboard, into the Black Wind Range, and this time I didn't go deep. I stopped at the edge, in a stretch of dead trees and rock. Sable like to den in places like this, I said, teaching. They're clever. Usually several entrances, all hidden with dead leaves and loose snow. I opened Hawkeye, and the snow went transparent in my sight. The tangled sable runs and nest a foot under the ground laid out clear. Found it. I led them to a huge dead tree and pointed at an unremarkable patch of snow. 3 feet down, that's the main nest. Listen. Yilan, doubtful, lay down and pressed her ear to the snow, listened a long while, heard nothing. Master, there's no sound. A restless mind can't hear it. I smiled and said no more. I picked up some stones and threw them hard at several seemingly random spots in the snow. Each one sank in and plugged a hidden vent, cutting off the sable's escape. Then I took an oilcloth bundle off the motorcycle and opened it, a crude bellows of wire and hide. I worked its hose into one inconspicuous hole and told Qin Mushiwe and Bai Xiuzhu, "You too. Come take turns pumping this. No need to rush, just keep it even." Then from my coat, I drew a small packet of dried, sharp-smelling herbs, lit them, and stuffed them into the bellows intake. Soon a thick smoke, smelling of fire and pungent medicine, was being driven down the hose into the den below. What is this?" Yilan stared. "Smoking them out," I said. "Wait. Inside 5 minutes, they'll surrender on their own." Not 3 minutes later, with a chorus of frantic squeals, a streak of purple-black shot from the main hole, fast as lightning. But I'd been waiting. I didn't even use the gun, just flicked my wrist, and a net I'd ready dropped like a sky-wide trap and caught the sable dead on. It thrashed and couldn't get free. Then 3 or 4 more came bolting out, one after another, and every one I caught the same easy way. A nest of 5, not one got away. The whole thing was clean and quick, all brains and skill, and it left the 3 women staring. They understood now. A true top hunter doesn't run on brute force. He runs on his head. That night, in the bedroom, the fresh-cured sable pelts lay spread over the broad pine bed, smooth, soft, warm, like the finest silk, so comfortable to lie on you could moan. I came in from washing up to find the room a little unusual. Bai Xiuzhu, Qin Mushiwe, and Yilan, all 3, lay side by side in light silk on the sable-covered bed. "What are you 3 doing?" I knew full well. "Just testing whether the new fur's warm," Qin Mushiwe said, rolling her eyes at me. Said Bai Xiuzhu gently, patting the empty space beside her. "It's so smooth. Only, sleeping alone, it does feel a bit cold." Yilan, red-faced, didn't dare speak, just looked at me with big, hopeful eyes. I laughed and blew out the candle. "Cold's exactly right. Your husband's coming to warm you up." That winter night, with snow outside and a warm bed within, a single sable pelt brought about my first real night with all of them at once. That night didn't just give me my fill. It broke the last bit of distance between the 3 women, and they grew close as sisters. The next day, they came to the table glowing, and the whole house seemed wrapped in a sweetness thick enough you couldn't stir it. The sable pelts Qin Mushiwe and Bai Xiuzhu sewed by hand into a lavish bedspread for the big bed, and its warm, silky touch became the women's favorite, the best of nests. One day Qian Yud came by, flushed with good cheer, and not alone. Behind him trailed a refined, gold-spectacled, scholarly middle-aged man. Sir, great news," he called, loud, the moment he came in. "Let me introduce you. This is the young proprietor of the Baikatang Pharmacy in the capital, Manager Sunday. Mr. Lin, your reputation precedes you." Sun hurried up and bowed deep, putting himself low. I knew the real player had arrived. The bare gallbladder had gone to this Sun, through Qian Yud. Clearly he'd gotten a taste and come knocking himself. "You're too kind, Manager Sunday sit." Seated, Sun came to the point, drawing from his bag a list written out neat in brush. "Mr. Lin, I'll be honest. My father took your gallbladder, and a chronic ailment of years eased greatly. He can't praise your abilities enough." He flattered, then turned. "He knows you're a marvel of the hills, able to do what others can't. So he sent me to ask you for a few rare things." He handed it over. I glanced at it and raised an eyebrow. A century-old wild ginseng. half a pound of Tai Sui fungus, a snow-capped red lotus. Everyone a treasure out of legend. Manager's son, what's on this list isn't cabbage in the hills, here for the asking. I set it down flat. Yes, of course I know. He nodded and bowed. So on price, we can absolutely talk. Any one of these you can find, and Bai Keitang will give 20 gold bars in return. Qin Muxue and Bai Xiuzhu sucked in a breath. My face stayed still as a well. I knew he'd come with his best offer. I can find them for you, I said slowly. But I have a condition. Please, Mr. Lin. Gold bars, I'll take half. The other half, I don't want in money or coupons. My eyes went deep. I want you to use Bai Keitang's connections in the capital to get me one thing. Grain. Grain. He blinked. That's right. A great deal of grain. Rice, white flour, corn, sorghum, potatoes, everything. However much there is, I want it. Buy it through your channels, and once you have it, don't ship it here. Find a safe place and store it for me, where it is. The request puzzled everyone there. Only I knew. The winter of 1958 was almost over, and a drought that would sweep the whole country was right at the door. By next year, grain would be worth more than gold. Every grain I hoarded now would be my hardest card to play. Sun didn't understand, but he was a clever merchant. He knew a man like me did nothing without reason. No problem, he said at once. Bai Keitang has an idle granary in the outskirts of the capital. Absolutely safe and secret. Good. I nodded, stood, and led him and Qian Yud to the back courtyard, where a small fenced patch of ground stood. When Sun saw what was inside the fence, his eyes went straight behind his glasses. Two deer, white as snow head to tail, beautiful velvet antlers on their heads, stood easy in the pen, so striking, so flawless, they seemed to glow in the winter sun, like sacred beasts walked out of a painting. White deer, and alive. His voice cracked with excitement. Auspicious creatures out of legend. Never mind how precious the antler and blood were as medicine. Two living white deer, given to the right great men in the capital, would buy favors and openings beyond reckoning. Ran into them in the hills a few days back. Liked the look of them, brought them home to keep. I said, light, as if I'd caught a pair of rabbits. Sun was beside himself. He knew this was me showing him my power, telling him I could fill any order on that list. Mr. Lin, he said, near groveling, name your price for the two white deer. They're not for sale. I shook my head. His heart sank. But, I turned, since you're sincere about working together, I should show good faith too. Call these two white deer your deposit, paid in advance. Handle the grain for me, and they're yours. His mind went blank. Two living, auspicious white deer, as a deposit for finding medicine. The scale of it. The confidence. He knew he'd latched onto an arm beyond his wildest imagining. He bowed deep, his voice shaking with fervor. Mr. Lin, rest easy. From now on, you're the greatest benefactor my family has. Never mind grain. You want the stars out of the sky. I'll find a way to fetch them down. I saw off the grateful, near kowtowing sun, and Qian Yud leaned in, full of admiration. Sir, that was masterful. With one move you've tied the biggest medicine merchant in the capital to your boat. I only smiled and said nothing, my eyes going to the endless black wind range in the distance. My road was just beginning. Century ginseng, Tai Sui, snow lotus, for a man with hawk eye. If that mountain held them, they'd be mine sooner or later. After Sun left, life eased back into its leisurely groove. I was in no hurry to go hunting those treasures. Eat one bite at a time, walk one step at a time. I enjoyed the feel of holding all the strings and laying things out slow. Time slid to the 23rd of the last lunar month, the little new year, and a faint holiday feeling started spreading through Qingshi. Goods were still scarce, but every household scraped together what it could to make the year a little lively. My family, of course, was rich past all decency. One morning I drove the three-wheeler, Bai Xiuzhu and Qin Muxue aboard, straight for the town co-op and the department store. I was going to lay in the New Year goods. The news spread on its own and caught half the town's eyes. Everyone wanted to see how the town's richest man would do his New Year shopping. When my family walked into the co-op, even the manager came out himself. Comrade Lin Xiao. Comrade Qin. Rare guests. What can we get you? Just looking. I waved a hand, then told the women, grand. Today we don't look at prices, and we don't look at coupons. See something you like, take it. The whole co-op went silent. Every shopper looked at me like I was an immortal. Not look at coupons. In a year when you needed a coupon to buy a block of tofu, that line was bolder than run my card, run it as much as you like, would ever be later on. And then they got a lesson in what spending like dirt looked like. This brown sugar, give me 10 pounds. Those canned goods, 5 of each flavor. This new batch of pastries is good. I'll take all of it. Girls, you like this print? Good. We'll take the whole bolt. By Xiaozhu, Qin Mushiwe, and Yi Lan were stiff at first, but under my urging they loosened up and moved through the aisles like 3 happy butterflies, pointing things out, faces full of contented joy. The 2 girls were nearly out of their minds, arms loaded with candy and biscuits. The sight cut at everyone there. They'd worn out their mouths haggling with the clerk over a few feet of cloth coupon, a few ounces of oil coupon. And here was a man buying out the store. How could the gap between people be so wide? Food done, I took them to the department store. This will coat's good, Xiaozhu. You'll look lovely in it, wrap it up. Mushiwe, look at this lady's Shanghai watch. It suits you perfectly. Lan, how about these little leather boots? You'll move quick hunting in them. Inside an hour, like a king touring his lands, I'd fitted each of my women out with the best of everything. When we left loaded down, we left a floor of broken hearts and looks of envy behind us. Word of my loud New Year shopping traveled back to Kaohsiung, of course. The holiday feeling there was far thinner, every family tightening its belt. And the Lin's house was bleaker still. Ever since I'd risen, my father had failed by the day, regret and envy 2 snakes gnawing at his insides night and day. He'd gone thin, sighing endlessly. Suehua, like a frost-bitten eggplant, had lost all her old sourness and sat dazed on the brick bed. Only Dajuan still clung to a useless fantasy. Dad, Mom, New Year's almost here. However rotten Lin Xiao is, he's got to come back for the holiday, hasn't he? He can't really disown us. It was less a question to his parents than a comfort to himself. But from the 23rd clear to the 29th, eyes straining, they never saw my motorcycle roll into the village. New Year's Eve. Other families had at least wrapped a few wild greens dumplings. The Lins, because Tsuohua couldn't be bothered to move, boiled 1 pot of thin corn gruel. Without me, they could no longer manage to bring down so much as ordinary game. The family sat around the dim kerosene lamp, drinking gruel, nobody speaking, while outside came the faint laughter of children setting off firecrackers, making the room bleaker still. Then a neighbor, Annie Zhang, came in carrying a steaming bowl of dumplings. Brother, sister, Happy New Year. Fresh out of the pot, have a taste. Sister, we couldn't, your family's not flush either, my mother said, trying to refuse. Take them, take them. Auntie Zhang pushed the bowl into her hands and showed off, mysterious. I'll tell you, these are no ordinary dumplings. Pork and scallion. What? All 4 Lins cried out at once. Sister, where did you get pork? Suehua couldn't help asking. Where do you think? Auntie Zhang's face went grateful and worshipful. From Lin Xiao. Your Lin Xiao had someone bring it back. This very afternoon, that girl student of his, Yi Lan, drove out on the motorcycle and gave everyone in the village who ever helped him 5 pounds of pork and 10 pounds of white flour. Said a drop of kindness should be repaid with a spring, and wished us all an early happy year. It hit the 4 of them like a thunderbolt. Lin Xiao had given food to outsiders, and not to them. This wasn't being ignored anymore. This was the rawest, cruelest insult. He'd rather hand meat and flour to neighbors barely connected to him than to his own blood. My father couldn't take the shock. His throat went sweet, and he brought up a mouthful of blood that stained the table in front of him. Dad, old man. The Lin house dissolved into chaos. On the night meant for the family to be whole, they passed a blood-colored new year in endless regret, shame, and despair. And at that same hour, in my courtyard in Qingshi, the warm room blazed with light. A New Year feast covered the whole table, me at the head, 3 beauties and 2 sweet little girls on either side, the radio playing festive opera. Come on, to our home. A toast. I raised my cup. Cheers. Glasses clinked, every face glowing. Outside, fireworks bloomed and lit the whole night sky. And all of it, every bit of the happiness, had nothing to do anymore with that so-called home 20 li away. New Year's Day my family spent at home in high spirits. By the second day, the day, by custom, that married daughters returned to their parents' home, I made a decision. Nothing was formal yet, but in my mind it was already settled. Mushue, come on. Today I'll take you home to your folks. What? Qin Mushue, braiding the girl's hair, jumped so the comb nearly hit the floor, startled and pleased both, her heart pounding. I haven't even told my parents I'm coming. This is so sudden. A plain bride has to meet her in-laws sometime, and our Mushue is anything but plain. I pinched her cheek, smiling. Don't worry. I've got it all in hand. Bai Xiuzhu and Yilan joined in, laughing, helping pick out her clothes for the day, the mood warm as if their own sister were heading off to be wed. I'd come prepared. The sidecar was packed full, for her family, 2 cartons of Great Front Gate cigarettes, 2 bottles of Shifeng liquor, a whole Jinhua ham, and a stack of new industrial and cloth coupons. Things a town cadre prized, respectable and useful. 9 that morning, at the cadre compound, the mood in the Qin house was a little heavy. Her father, Qin Jinhua, a section chief at the grain bureau, sat reading the paper in his glasses, stern. Her mother, Li Xiuying, a primary school teacher, knitted beside him, sighing now and then. Look at this Mushue, well past 20 and not the slightest care about her own situation. Yesterday I sent her to meet Director Li's son, and she found an excuse and brushed it off. Where does the girl get such high standards? Li Xiuying complained. Qin Jinhua grunted and set down the paper. Let her be. I'd like to see what she drags home. If it's anything less than Director Li's son, I'll have something to say to her. Just then, a knock at the door. Who's that, on the 2nd day of the year? Li Xiuying muttered, going to answer. She opened it and froze. There stood the daughter they'd just been griping about. And behind her, a tall, handsome young man with both hands full of weighty parcels. And behind him, 2 pretty women. Mushue. And this is... Dad, Mom. Qin Mushue said, blushing, a little awkward. This is my friend, Lin Xiao. He heard about you too and came specially to wish you a happy new year. Lin Xiao. So this was him. They'd heard the name plenty. Uncle, Auntie, Happy New Year. Easy, no nerves at all, a warm smile, holding out the heavy gifts. First visit, I didn't know what you liked, so I just brought a few things. It's nothing. Qin Jinhua and Li Xiuying looked at the 2 cartons of cigarettes, 2 bottles of liquor, and the whole Jinhua ham, and their eyes about popped. This was just a few things. It was more than enough for a marriage proposal, never mind a New Year call. Qin Jinhua recognized the cigarettes at a glance. Great Front Gate, the kind you needed a special cadre coupon to get, the kind he wouldn't smoke himself. Come in and sit. You shouldn't have brought so much, Li Xiuying recovered, all smiles now, ushering me in. Qin Jinhua, shaken inside, kept his head of the house dignity on the surface. He pushed up his glasses, looked me over, and began step 1 of the interrogation, sizing up my background. Sit, young man. He pointed at the sofa, stern. Mushue says you're a hunter. Yes, uncle. I sat straight, steady. He sipped his tea slow. Which village? Parents living? What work do they do? A pointed question. He was probing my origins. Qin Mushue's heart clenched, afraid I'd answer wrong. But I smiled, neither cringing nor swaggering. I'm from Kaohsiung. My parents are both farmers, in decent health. I didn't mention being thrown out. No need to. Sure enough, at farmers, Qin Jinhua's brow gave a small frown. To his mind, his daughter was a state cadre and should match with someone who also ate the state's rice. A hunter was, in the end, a mudlegs. Young man, living off hunting. It's unsteady, no long-term prospect, he said, weighty, moving to step 2, a warning. That's right, Li Xiuying chimed in. Hunting, out in all weather, it's so dangerous. Little Lin, have you thought about finding a proper work unit? Even a temporary post would be better. Qin Mushue went anxious and started to speak up for me, but I stopped her with a reassuring look. I smiled, drew the small box from my coat, and set it on the table. You're quite right, and I take the lesson. But I've had some luck. Running the hills year-round is dangerous, true, but now and then I turn up little things you can't find in town. I opened the box on the gleaming Shanghai watch. Got this through someone a few days back. I know you're a unit leader, uncle. Busy, no convenient way to keep time. Consider it my respects. Call it a bit of logistical support for the nation's grain cause. The line gave the gift and flattered him in one stroke, airtight. Qin Jinhua and Li Xiuying's heads rang. A Shanghai watch. He looked at the treasure he'd eyed for who knows how long and never had the coupon or the heart to buy, and his breath quickened. The way he looked at me changed in an instant. This was no mudlegs. This was a walking god of wealth. A man who handed out a little thing like that had ability and means past their whole grain bureau's leadership combined. Matching backgrounds? Iron rice bowls. In front of real power, those were jokes. Ahem. Qin Jinhua coughed and pushed the watch back, but his face had bloomed into a smile, and even his form of address changed. Little Lin, this is too much. Far too dear. Put it away. His mouth said so. His eyes never left the watch. Li Xiaoying was quicker. She shut the box and pressed it into her husband's hands, scolding. You old fool. It's the boy's good heart. Why all the fuss? Little Lin, don't listen to him. Auntie accepts it for him. A mother-in-law looking at a son-in-law only likes him more by the minute. Step 3 of the interrogation collapsed under the watch's assault without a fight. The talk after went perfectly warm. Qin Jinhua poured my tea. Li Xiaoying kept dropping candy on my plate. Little Lin, that courtyard on the south side, getting on all right? Need anything? Tell Auntie. Little Lin, that hunting skill of yours is really something. You're a hero of Qingshi. Anybody with no eyes gives you trouble, you tell me. I know a few people in this town. Watching her parents' 360-degree turn, Qin Muxue was caught between exasperated and amused, but sweeter inside than if she'd eaten honey. She knew I'd conquered her somewhat snobbish parents in my most direct, high-handed way. Near noon, Li Xiaoying insisted on cooking the grandest lunch she could, and I, finally, laid the blade bare. Uncle, I said with a smile, there's actually one small thing I wanted to discuss. Say it. Anything I can do, no hesitation, he promised, thumping his chest. It's like this. I looked at Qin Muxue beside me, my voice tender. Muxue and I care for each other. I was thinking, might we settle the relationship first? What do you two say? When I said the words, settle the relationship first, the whole room seemed to freeze. Qin Muxue went red to her ears, wishing she could sink through the floor. The wretch. How could he say something that direct in front of her parents? Qin Jinhua and Li Xiaoying froze too, then traded a glance, and in each other's eyes saw a joy they couldn't hide. Settle it? That was exactly what they'd been hoping for. Li Xiaoying, terrified this golden son-in-law might fly off, slapped her thigh and jumped in first. Settle it. Of course we'll settle it. Little Lin, Auntie can see you're steady, solid, capable, and so good to our Muxue. We couldn't be more pleased. Qin Jinhua wanted to hold a little father-in-law dignity, but with the Shanghai watch sitting by his hand, the last of his reserve had flown off. He cleared his throat and said, weighty, like a man passing on wisdom. Well, since you young people care for each other, we parents won't object. But little Lin, Muxue was spoiled growing up. She's got a quick temper. You'll have to be patient with her. Which was as good as fully accepting me as the future son-in-law. Don't worry. I stood and made my promise solemn. I haven't got many talents, uncle, auntie, but protecting my own woman is one of them. As long as there's meat for me to eat, Muxue will never be left with the broth. The swagger of it delighted the two of them. Li Xiaoying couldn't stop smiling, taking Bai Xiuzhu and Yi Lan by the hands. After the introductions, she understood them as the household's living manager and trainee, and praising up and down. There, that's the spirit a man should have. Muxue, you found yourself a good one. With the relationship settled, the mood turned all family. Li Xiaoying dove happily into the kitchen to fix the grandest lunch she ever had, and in the front room Qin Jinhua dropped his airs entirely, brought out the good tea he kept hidden, brewed me a cup, and started chatting like a father-in-law sizing up a son-in-law. Little Lin, that motorcycle of yours, real style. My bureau chief says he's seen only a few even at provincial meetings. It's all right. Just something to get around on. Listen to him. And that hunting skill of yours. How did you ever come by it? It's uncanny. I handled it modestly while quietly taking the measure of my future father-in-law. I knew gifts only won a man for a moment. To bring a wily old hand like Qin Jinhua fully over, to make him my firmest backing in town, I needed to show him real, undeniable strength. The chance came fast. At lunch, Li Xiaoying brought out her specialty, red-braised fish. Qin Jinhua took a bite and frowned. This fish, it's just off, a muddy taste. The supply gets worse by the day. He spoke without thinking. I filed it away. After the meal, I excused myself, slipped out to the yard, pulled something I'd readied from the space into a plain net bag, and came back in. On my way out, I handed the bag to Qin Jinhua. Uncle, you mentioned the fish in town's no good. I netted a few from a deep pool in the hills a couple days back. Haven't eaten them yet. You and Auntie give them a try. He went to refuse, then took the bag, saw what was in it, and froze. 3 fish, alive and thrashing, each near a foot long, fine-scaled, silver in the sun. And strangest of all, for long whiskers under each one's mouth. This is a 4-whiskered stone whisker fish, he cried, his voice shaking. He'd fished by the river in his youth. He knew this kind needed water so clean it lived only in the clear stone pools of the deepest, most untrodden mountains, and usually had 2 whiskers, for made it a king among fish, a delicacy out of legend. He'd never even seen one. And I hadn't just caught one, I'd caught 3, alive, at once. Which meant I could take not only the running beasts of the hills, but the swimming fish of the waters. Anything rare, nothing escaped me. That was past hunter. That was near sorcery. He held the bag of thrashing fish like it weighed 1,000 pounds, and the way he looked at me had changed completely. No more appraisal, no more reserve, only satisfaction. He knew his daughter had found a hidden dragon. Stick with him, and they'd not just eat well, they might one day taste dragon meat from the sky itself. Good son-in-law. He clapped my shoulder, the last bit of misgiving over my background washed clean away by 3 fish. From now on, anybody says a word against you behind your back, you tell me. I'll be the first to deal with them. And there it was. With 1 meal, 1 watch, and 3 fish, my future father-in-law was fully won, my most loyal man in town. I rode off with 3 well-satisfied women aboard, out of the cadre compound. It was afternoon by then. The 3-wheeler chugged down the dirt road to Yejia village, kicking up dust. In the sidecar, Chin Mushiwe was still glowing from her parents' total turnaround, a silly smile on her face the whole way. And behind me, Yilan's heart was in her throat. Home was close now. Her master had healed her father's leg and sent rich gifts before, but today was the first time she'd bring him home as something like a bride. She was eager and nervous both. Eager to see her family's and the villagers' faces. Nervous her home was too poor, too broken, and would lose him face. Don't be nervous. Feeling her stiffen, I freed a hand and patted hers at my waist. Today, you're the star. The simple words smoothed every worry out of her. With her master there, what did she have to fear? When the legendary iron beast appeared at the mouth of Yejia village, the poor little place boiled over like a pot come to a rolling boil. Look, what is that? It's the iron donkey. Hero Lin's iron donkey. It's Lan. Lan's come back on the iron donkey. Old folks sunning themselves, half-grown children playing in the mud, women mending clothes. All of them came pouring out of their mud houses and crowded the motorcycle 3 deep. They looked at the thing that ran without an ox to pull it, and at the girl on it in a new padded coat, rosy and pretty as a town girl, and their eyes about popped. Was this the wild girl, Yilan, who used to scramble through the hills in a patched leather coat? She'd been with Hero Lin how long? And already she'd been remade into someone else. Lan's home. Through the crowd, her father, Yi Laojian, leaning on a new cane with her mother at his arm, pushed forward, weeping with joy. His leg, mended by the blood Lingji, was near whole. He no longer limped, and he was a changed man. Dad. Mom. Yilan's eyes went red, and she leapt down. Lin Xiao? You came yourself. The old man, seeing me at the wheel, was so moved he made to kneel in thanks. Without me, he might never have stood again. Don't, sir. I jumped down and caught him, smiling warm. It's New Year. I brought Lan home to see you too. The villagers buzzed, green with envy. Look at Yi Laojian, what a daughter he raised. She's grabbed a high branch. She'll be a phoenix. Be a phoenix? She is one. Look at how she's dressed, how she glows. I paid them no mind and started unloading. When I dropped a half side of fat boar, still rimed with ice, onto the ground with a thud, the crowd sucked in a breath. 100+ pounds of pork, tossed down like nothing. Then a bulging sack of snow-white rice. A heavy sack of fine flour. 2 bolts of new blue cotton cloth shining in the sun. Each one landed like a bomb on their nerves. In all their lives, they'd never seen so many good things, never dared dream of them. And now there it all sat outside the Yi family's broken mud house, heaped into a small mountain of pure temptation. Her mother couldn't speak, just wiped her eyes on her rough sleeve. Good child. Good child. Uncle. Auntie, let's get it inside before it freezes, I said, like I'd brought out a few cabbages. The old man snapped to and called his wife, and under the crowd's envious eyes they carried a mountain of treasure into their home. At noon, in the Yi house, shabby but spotless, the table held the grandest spread the family could manage. A big pot of pork stewed with cellophane noodles, a plate of scrambled eggs, a dish of home-pickled vegetables. Yi Laojian poured me sweet potato liquor he'd hidden away for years, raised the cup in both hands, eyes red. Mr. Lin, you're our family's great benefactor, a living bodhisattva. I'm no good with words. This cup's for you. And he tipped his head back and drank it down. I drank mine too, and put the biggest piece of fat pork in his bowl. Uncle, no need to stand on ceremony. We're family now. That word, family, settled his heart and his wife's for good. A few rounds in, the old man looked at his daughter, beaming as she put food on my plate, and 100 feelings crossed him. He held his cup, silent a long while, then stood, like he'd made up his mind. Mr. Lin, I've held something in my chest a long time. Today, in front of the neighbors, there were still plenty crowded outside watching. I have to say it. He looked at his daughter, then announced it loud. This daughter of mine, Yilan, wild since she was small, a bad temper, always with a knife or a spear, no way for a girl to be. But she's hardworking and not bad to look at. I used to worry she'd never marry. Now I don't worry, because she met you, and that's the greatest blessing of her life. So today I hand her over to you, completely. He pointed at her and said it plain. Student in name, but really she's yours. Beat her, scold her, live or die. It's all yours to decide. The Yi family won't say one word against it. It was as good as handing over his daughter in front of the whole village. Yilan, shy and glad, buried her face, but inside she was sweeter than honey. I stood, didn't look at the old man, but walked to Yilan and, in front of everyone, drew her gently into my arms. I raised my cup to her father and to the villagers outside and set it ringing. Uncle, rest easy. My woman, in this life, only I get to tease her. I'll never let anyone else give her the slightest grief. And I drained the cup. The room cheered. That New Year's second day visit pushed my standing in Qingshi and the villages around it to a peak it had never reached. Tiger-killing hero, golden son-in-law, living god of wealth. Every kind of name got hung on me. Everyone knew a great man with eyes and hands that reached anywhere lived in that courtyard on the South Riverbank, rich and powerful and good as gold to his women. I lived like an immortal. The paper, a little coaching of Yilan's forms, building snowmen with the girls, and at night the gentle care of 3 beauties, a richer life than any lord of old. Bai Shouzhu kept the inside in perfect order, Qin Mushua handled the outside flawlessly, Yilan guarded my safety and helped me hunt. 3 women, each to her work, kept the head of the house comfortable. That easy life ran until the 7th of the first month, when the town's units went back to work. Qin Mushua rode off to the housing office early, high-spirited. Bai Shouzhu worked the sewing machine with the girls, puzzling out spring dresses. Yilan practiced her fighting in the yard like a faithful guard. And I lay in a rocker at the main room door with a pot of good long jing, eyes half shut, soaking up rare winter sun and the opera on the radio, easy as could be. Then a quick knocking broke the quiet. Who is it? Yilan asked, wary. I'm Su Wanqing, from the clinic. I need Brother Lin. It's urgent. A woman's voice, anxious and out of breath. Her? I raised an eyebrow. Since I'd left the clinic, I'd only crossed paths with the pretty nurse a couple of times on the street. What had happened to bring her to my door in such a rush? Yilan opened it, and there she was, the gentle little nurse. Su Wanqing started at the sight of Yilan, flushed, awkward. Comrade Yilan. Hello. I'm looking for Brother Lin. Master's inside. Come in. Yilan's tone was cool. As one woman to another, she could feel the way this nurse looked at her master was a bit out of the ordinary. Brother Lin. Spotting me in the rocker, Su Wanqing rushed over like she'd found her anchor. Wanqing, what is it? You're in a state. Brother Lin, it's bad. Something serious has happened. She gasped it out. There's trouble in the mountains. A geological survey team the province sent down, an old professor who studied in the Soviet Union, 2 young students, and a guide hired from the county, 4 of them, went into the deep Black Wind Range to look at some rare mineral. They were supposed to come out last night. There's been no sign of them. She paused, worried. It's freezing. There was heavy snow last night. The nights up there are bitter, and there are beasts. If they don't get out soon, I'm afraid it'll be very bad. I frowned. I knew better than anyone what the deep Black Wind Range was on a winter night. A forbidden zone of death for ordinary people. Forget getting lost, even well-equipped. One slip and you froze or became a meal. What's the commune doing? I asked. Secretary Lee's frantic. The professor's a top expert, an important man. If anything happens to him on Qingshi's ground, nobody could bear the blame. Lee's pulled together all the commune militia, and Director Chen from the station took men too. They're going in to search. She turned, troubled. But you know our militia, they hunt rabbits and keep the peace. None of them has the real ability to push into the deep range, especially with snow sealing the mountains. They'd be like headless flies in there, glad enough not to get lost themselves, never mind rescue anyone. So Dr. Wang at the clinic said this really needs you. In all of Qingshi, the only one who can treat the Black Wind Range like his own back garden in a snowstorm is you. He sent me to ask whether you might. She didn't finish, but the meaning was plain. They wanted the true king of these hills to step in. I didn't answer right away. I walked to the middle of the yard and looked at the sky. Clear today, but a knifing cold in the wind, the snow on the far peaks throwing back blinding light. I knew in a rescue, time was life. Every minute lost, those four people's chances thinned. And the old professor was no small figure. Bring him out safe. And it was both a great service and a favor owed by the provincial capital, the kind that could prove useful in ways I couldn't yet guess. And besides, a hunter's blood ran in me. Conquering the Black Wind Range was its own pleasure. Lan, I said. Yes, master. She straightened. Go bring out my gear. Check the ammunition, pack dry food, and a first aid kit. Yes. She bolted inside without hesitation. Xiaozhu, I told by Xiaozhu, fill the thermoses with hot water. Fry some flatbread for the road. On it. She moved at once. Watching me lay it all out in seconds, an air of command coming off me, Su Wanqing went a little dazed. She knew I'd said yes. Brother Lin Yu. A rescue's like a fire. No time to lose. I cut her off, my eyes sharpening. Wanqing, go straight back to the clinic. Ready stretchers, blankets, and medicine. When we find them, the state won't be good. Right? Going now. She nodded hard and ran. Watching her hurry off, I let out a breath. After so many quiet days, it was time to let all of Qingshi, and higher up, see what Lin Xiao could really do. This time I wasn't only going to save people. I was going to make everyone understand that in this vast forest, I was the one king. When I pulled up to the commune compound with Yilan, armed and spirited, the search party perked right up. 20 or 30 people had gathered, Secretary Li and Director Chen among them, faces grim. Beside them, a dozen militiamen with old rifles and hunting guns, and a few seasoned old hunters, all red-cheeked with cold, poorly equipped. Li Jianguo came striding over like he'd seen a savior. Comrade Lin Xiao, you're here at last. Secretary Li, Director Chen. I jumped down. What's the situation? Do we have a rough route the team took? Don't ask. Li gestured at a shivering middle-aged man. This is a fellow villager of the county guide. All he knows is they went in around West Mountain Point, headed for someplace called One Line Sky to look for ore. But that whole area is tens of li of empty wilderness, and under fresh snow nobody can tell north from south. Chen Jianjun clapped my shoulder. Lin Xiao, I know there's risk, but you're our only hope now. That professor's a top geological expert. If anything happens, none of us can carry the blame. I scanned the so-called search party. Plenty of people, but mismatched gear and fear of the deep range in their eyes. Counting on them, you'd be lucky to keep them from straggling, never mind a rescue. Don't worry. Leave it to me. Just those words, but they steadied every anxious person there. Lan, bring it over. Yilan pulled two finely made things from the sidecar that made everyone's eyes light up, a pair of skis. I'd had Carpenter Zhang build them to my measure from memory. In a snow mountain, far better than two legs. What are those? Li asked. Skis. For covering ground in the hills. I fixed them to my feet and Yilan's, practiced. Then I drew a scrap of cloth the team had left in the jeep, held it to my nose, and breathed in, memorizing the scent. The system's strengthening had sharpened my sense of smell well past normal. The old hunters watched and nodded. The man was professional. Move out. I nodded to Li, then pushed off, the poles biting the snow, and shot away like an arrow with Yilan beside me. Two black streaks racing toward the white peaks, skimming over the snow like flat ground, smooth as flowing water. The search party stood gaping. They were still fumbling with rope and rations while the two of us, on a pair of wooden boards, had vanished over the horizon. That's no man, an old hunter said, his pipe falling out of his mouth. That's a mountain god come down. Li Jianguo and Chun Jianjun traded a look full of shock and joy. They'd asked the right man. What are you standing around for? Follow, Li bellowed. Even if we can't catch him, we set up a support base at the foot of the mountain. In the deep black wind range, Yilan and I flew through the snow forest. With the skis, we were 10 times faster than on foot. Master, the snow's so heavy, it's covered every track. Where do we even look? She asked behind me, worried. Tracks were never only on the ground. I didn't stop. My eyes had become two precision instruments running at speed. Hawkeye, pushed to its limit. The world wasn't just snow and trees to me. The faint trace of human scent in the air, the unnatural break on a wind-blown branch, an all but invisible clothing fiber scraped under a rock, all of it blew up huge in my sight, turned into a string of pointing data. They went this way. I said at a fork, choosing without hesitation the harder-looking path. Master, how do you know? Yilan couldn't see a difference. Wind. Plain. This path's in the lee. People instinctively pick the way with less resistance. And look at those branches. I pointed with a pole. The snow on them's been brushed by a pack. Faint, but it means someone passed, and in a hurry. She squinted along while before she could just make out that the snow on those branches was a hair thinner than the rest. The eyesight was unbelievable. A kilometer on, I stopped again, and my brow furrowed. I crouched, brushed away a thick layer of snow, and uncovered a small patch of frozen dark red blood. Someone's hurt. I opened hawk eye and scanned, and my eyes landed on a scratch on a pine trunk, near buried under fresh snow. That's from a metal-tipped trekking pole. Nobody in our town uses those. It's the survey teams. I pointed at a thicket. Something happened here. Those branches snapped. The breaks are fresh. Not an animal. Someone tumbling in a panic broke them. Putting it together, someone slipped and got hurt here, and then the group split. Two went down toward the lower valley, probably looking for shelter from the wind. The other two pushed on toward one-line sky, likely to finish the job. From a few traces no ordinary person would notice, I'd laid out the whole situation. The injury, the split. Yilan was floored. She understood now that her old hunting skills were children's play next to her master's human radar abilities. Master, how did you see all that? She asked, awe in her voice. You look with your mind. 3 words, with a smile. I stood, looked at the 2 paths, and decided without hesitation. We get the 2 injured ones first. The other 2, they went looking for death. Let them suffer a little longer. And I pushed off toward the valley. Yilan watched my confident back with worship in her eyes. With this man, there was nowhere they couldn't go, nothing they couldn't do. And a dozen li behind us, Li Jianguo's party was still slogging through the snow, one heavy step at a time. The gap between people had never been plainer. The wind in the valley was lighter but colder, the light dimming, sheer cliffs blocking the sky, slick moss and sharp rock under the snow. Master, it's so cold here, Yilan shivered. Valleys gather the cold. At least 5 degrees lower than outside. My face went serious. A place like this, no shelter, a single night freezes a person to death. Hawkeye scanned the valley, and fast I locked onto a hollow in the cliff 100 meters off, the faintest trace of smoke, a barely audible groan. Found them. I sped up. When we slid down to the cliff base, the sight made Yilan suck in a breath. In a cave that barely broke the wind, 2 people huddled together, shaking. One was the local guide, 40s, lips blue, face gray, half-conscious. The other was a young woman, maybe 20, in a blue wool coat too thin for this, soaked through. One leg was splinted rough with branches and cloth strips, swollen like a steamed bun, broken. Her face was paper white, but her big eyes were strikingly bright, full of stubborn fight. She was rubbing the guide's frozen hands, trying to give him a little warmth. Beside them a pile of snow-soaked wood gave off thin black smoke, refusing to light. At the sound she looked up, wary, and seeing 2 strangers in odd gear drop out of nowhere, her eyes filled with guard. Who are you? She pulled the guide behind her. Don't be afraid. We're here to save you. My voice was steady, the kind that made people believe. I shed the skis and walked over. She eased a little but didn't fully relax. I ignored her and crouched to check the guide. Severe frostbite, exhaustion, early stage of hypothermic shock. One look was enough. 3 more hours, and he's gone. The professional terms stopped her short. She knew some first aid herself and knew I had it exactly right. You're a doctor? Close enough. Between a past life of reading everything and the knowledge Hawkeye gave me, this was nothing. I started giving Yilon orders. Lon, those dead birches, strip the bark for tinder. Find dry pine. Quick. Yes, master. You, I told the woman. Get his wet clothes off and dry his body with cloth. She hesitated, a man's clothes. You want him to live? Do as I say. No room in it. She started at once. I took a small bottle of strong liquor from the kit, drank a mouthful to warm myself, poured the rest on a dry cloth, and rubbed the guide's frozen limbs hard to get his blood moving. Yilon came back with birch bark and pine. I took it, skipped the matches, and pulled out something that was black tech for the era, a ferro rod and striker. A few fast scrapes, a shower of bright sparks, and the dry tinder caught. A warm fire blazed up in the cold valley. The fire from nothing stunned the woman. She'd never seen anyone light soaked wood with 2 little pieces of metal. Who was this man? The cave warmed fast. I hung a canteen over the fire, broke some black chunks into the water. What's that? She asked. Ginger sugar blocks. For the chill. Head down. Warmth and hot ginger water. And the guide finally came to with a weak groan. The woman wept with relief and bowed deep. Thank you. Thank you both. Don't thank me yet. My eyes went to her swollen leg. It's broken. It has to be set and splinted now, or you lose it. She went white again. Don't be scared. I've got it. I had her sit, crouched, and took her shin gently in both hands, cold, with a startling firmness. This might hurt. Bear it. And before she could react, I twisted and pulled. A clean crack as the bone went back. She cried out, cold sweat on her forehead, then felt the worst of the pain ease, like a miracle. I splinted and bound it, fast and expert, glad I'd packed the boards for the worst case. She looked at her leg, then at this man who seemed able to do anything, her bright eyes full of shock and something else. She'd never been touched so closely by a man, and far from minding, she felt a safety she'd never known. I'm Lu Shuiyao, a student at the Provincial Geology University, she offered. With me were my teacher, Professor Zhou Wenba, and my senior classmate. We got separated. Zhou Wenba. The name rang faintly. I know where they are. I looked at her calm. You and the guide stay here. Keep the fire up, don't wander. I'll bring them back. You know where they are? She was stunned again. Of course. I smiled. Because in this mountain, there's nobody Lin Xiao can't find. For some reason, looking at the certainty in my eyes, she couldn't summon a shred of doubt, as if what this man said was simply the truth of the world. Then, be careful, she said, biting her lip. Don't worry. I turned to Yilon. Stay here, look after them. Keep the fire going, plenty of hot water. If beasts come, don't fight, fire a warning shot. Yes, master. She wanted to come, but knew now wasn't the time for it. I got back on the skis and vanished around the bend like black lightning. Lu Shuiyao stared after me, her heart a tangle. She'd never met a man like that, strong, steady, decisive, like he could shoulder the sky if it fell. She touched her splinted leg where his fingers had warmed it and flushed. Alone now, without anyone slowing me, I went faster. Hawk eye wide open, everything within a kilometer under my read. I followed the traces I judged toward one-line sky, the ground steeper and colder the deeper I went. Soon I found new signs, a string of jumbled footprints, discarded ration cans, biscuit wrappers. I crouched, took a pinch of snow to my nose. Smoke. They hadn't found shelter before dark. They'd made camp and lit a fire, a beacon in a snow mountain full of hungry predators. Reckless. I didn't follow the prints. I cut a shorter line across the ridge, and minutes later came silent onto a high spine of rock. I lay in the snow like a patient leopard and looked down into a hollow. A flimsy tent torn to shreds, the campfire long dead. And in a big tree nearby, 2 men clung together, shaking, faces white as paper. One was gray-haired, in glasses, Professor Zhou Wenba, surely. The other a young man in his 20s, handsome enough but terrified and bedraggled, Lu Shuiyao Sr. And under the tree, 3 huge snow wolves paced, low growls in their throats, green eyes fixed on the prey just out of reach. The fire and food had drawn the ghosts of the snow mountain. The men were treed for now, but wolves are patient. They'd wait the two of them to death. Worse, the young man's arm had a deep wound, still bleeding, staining the trunk red, blood that would only drive the pack wilder. Teacher, teacher, what do we do? Are we going to die here? The young man sobbed. Shut up. Show some backbone. Joe was scared too, but older, steadier. Save your strength. The rescue team will come. But looking at the wolves below, his eyes were full of despair. Then the strongest of them, the lead wolf, lost patience. It backed up, charged, leapt, and bit the lowest branch, and snapped it clean off, a branch thick as a bull's mouth. The men nearly died of fright. They knew the pack would take the tree apart and have them. Despair flooded over them. And in that worst moment, a crack rang through the empty valley. The lead wolf that had just snapped the branch jerked, a flower of blood blooming between its brows, and dropped without even a howl, twitched twice, and went still. One shot, one kill. The other two wolves, and the men, froze. Then, before they could move, two more shots. The remaining wolves stiffened as if rooted, blood blooming in the same spot between their brows, and crumpled into the snow. 3 shots, 3 wolves, every one through the head. The whole thing took under 3 seconds. That wasn't marksmanship. It was magic. Joe and his student gaped, minds blank, unable to understand what had happened, until a tall figure came skiing down off the ridge like a god descending and stopped neatly under their tree. You two up there, all right? I looked up, a faint smile on me, like those 3 impossible shots were no more than flicking ash off a cigarette. They wept, speechless. Finally, the young man came to and scrambled down, sobbing. Comrade, comrade, thank you for saving us. I'm Zhao Yu, the professor's student. Save it for later. I cut him off, my eyes on his bleeding arm. You want to live? Treat that wound, or you won't make it down the mountain even without the wolves. I turned to the old man, climbing shakily down. You're Professor Zhou Wenbao? I am. He pushed up his glasses, looking at me with shock and gratitude. Young comrade, your name? You're shooting, it's uncanny. My name's Lin Xiao. I'm just a hunter. My voice stayed flat. I patched the gash on Zhao Yu's arm, but I didn't rush the two of them down the mountain. Your guide and comrade Lu Shuiyao, I've already found them. They're in a valley, safe. That alone put the fear out of both their faces. Zhao Yu lit up. Shuiyao, how is she? Is she hurt? Broken leg. Nothing serious. I gave him a flat look. Broken? The color drained out of him. Then what are we waiting for? Let's go get her. What's the hurry? A little contempt I didn't bother hiding. There's a fire down there. Hot water, 100 times safer than where you've been. You two are the problem. Wrung out, nerves shot. Walk down now, and you'll fold halfway. I nodded at the 3 wolf carcasses. There. Lunch. And I drew the bayonet and went to work on them. Skin, joint, butcher, smooth as breathing, while the professor and the kids sat there with their jaws open. A fire came back up. I spitted the tenderest cuts of wolf leg over it, and the smell rolled out thick into that frozen valley until both their stomachs growled loud enough to embarrass them. Comrade Lin Xiao. Professor Zhou couldn't hold the question. You're young. How do you come by skill and wilderness sense like this? Kid raised in the hills. Nothing special. No, this is different. He shook his head, pushed up his glasses, a scholar's gleam in his eye. When I was young, I walked plenty of old-growth forest with survey teams. What you've got is past experience. It's more like a gift you were born with. I smiled and let it go. The knowledge library the system handed me really was that absurd. Zhao Yu, though, wanted to shine in front of his teacher. He leaned in, superior. Comrade Lin Xiao, you've got real ability, I'll grant that. But hunting comes down to brawn in the end. We geologists work by knowledge. Science. He tapped a dark slab of rock. This stone, to you just a rock. To us, the bedding, the structure, the associated minerals tell the whole geology of the area where the earth sits. That's the power of knowledge. The professor gave a non-committal nod. And then I opened my mouth, and the two of them froze solid. Oh, you mean this breccia? I didn't even turn my head. Going by the iron staining and the quartz veining, this whole area is a late Yinshan granite intrusion with hydrothermal alteration. And if I had to guess, what you're hunting is the tungsten that forms along the granite contact zone. Am I close? I handed the professor a piece of cooked wolf. And you went the wrong way. The real or body isn't at one-line sky. It's about 2 miles southwest. In that basin the locals call Coffin Hollow. The quartz veining's better developed there, chalcopyrite and pyrite as indicators. The reserves should be considerable. Dead silence. The pin drop kind. Zhou Wenbo sat with the steaming wolf meat halfway to his mouth, forgotten, his flushed face and his bugged-out eyes making one ridiculous picture. Zhao Yu's jaw nearly hit the snow. The smug look still frozen on him like a clown's. Breccia. Granite intrusion. Hydrothermal alteration. Indicator minerals. Hearing all that pour out of a country hunter, easy as a man reciting his own name. It rattled them worse than 3 shots dropping 3 wolves had. How? How do you know all this? The professor finally managed, his voice shaking. The way he looked at me had gone from the man who saved my life to a fathomless monster. Zhao Yu was ash gray. He knew now. His little lecture had been a man waving a hatchet at a master carpenter's door. Picked up a few days from an old fellow who knew geology once. Read a book or two. Just guessing. I kept it light, like it was nothing. And to Zhou the modesty landed like a thunderclap. A few days? Guessing? And he reaches a level a man who's lived in the field 40 years can't touch? Zhou shot to his feet, abandoned his meat, and grabbed my hand, eyes blazing with that scholar's fever. Mr. Lin, would you come back to the provincial capital with me? I'll recommend you to the Academy of Sciences. With a gift like yours, you could be the finest geologist this country has. Where would I get geology? It all came from the Hawkeye. Enhanced. It doesn't just see through animals and plants. It reads the shallow mineral structure of the ground itself, the energy in it. All I'd done was take what I saw and translate it through the system's library. Thank you for the high regard, Professor. I drew my hand back, easy. But I'm a wild cloud kind of man, no good in a city's harness. And these hills still have a lot of treasure waiting for me to dig up. Double meaning, that. He looked crushed, and somehow more in awe of me than before. A true recluse, who treats fame and fortune like dirt. Zhao Yu just kept his head down and said nothing. His face burned like he'd been slapped 50 times. Everything he was proud of had been ground to powder in front of him, and he'd meant to use it later, in front of Lu Shuyao, to make me look like a brute. Now he knew. He'd lost strength, nerve, learning. Beside this man named Lin Xiao, he was an ant. We ate, and the air stayed strange. The professor forgot we were in a death trap entirely, dogging me with questions about rock structure and or trends, humble as a schoolboy. I tossed him a term here and there, hit the right itch every time, set him off in fresh waves of wonder. Zhao Yu chewed with his head down and didn't dare look at me. Half an hour's rest, and I took them back toward the valley. Without skis, slogging the deep snow, we crawled. Zhao Yu tried to lead, to play the man, and 3 steps and went hip deep in a drift and would have been buried if I hadn't yanked him out. I walked the front easy and sure, never breaking through, never even looking down. The professor watched and clucked his tongue, and his estimate of me climbed another notch. It was afternoon when we slid back into the sheltered valley. From far off we saw the bright fire and the curling smoke. Teacher, Senior Zhao, Yilan spotted them first and cried out, delighted. Lu Shuyao came hobbling out on a branch crutch, and when she saw her teacher and her senior whole and well, the hell breath went out of her and her eyes went red. Then her gaze slid past both of them and locked, hard, onto the figure at the back. Him. He really brought every one of them home. Something flooded her, safety, worship, like a warm tide filling her chest. Zhao Yu forgot his own sorry state and rushed her. Shuyao, are you all right? Does the leg still hurt? I'm fine. She stepped back, on instinct, dodging the hand he reached out, her eyes still on me. He stiffened, a flicker of hurt crossing his face. Xiao Lu, we owe Comrade Lin Xiao our lives this time. The professor grabbed her hand and poured out the whole thing. 3 shots, 3 wolves, a war god dropping out of the sky at the last breath. The 2 women's eyes shone with worship. Lu Shuyao's look had gone all the way from gratitude to something quieter and harder to hide. And you'll never believe it, Zhou said, getting worked up again, pointing at me. He's a hidden master of geology too. What? Even Yilan was stunned. Master can do geology? Zhao Yu's face went liver purple. He knew the worst moment of his life had arrived. Zhou repeated my whole speech word for word. Granite intrusion, tungsten, and finished. We were wrong. All of us. Or isn't it one-line sky? It's where Comrade Lin said. His learning runs deeper and truer than mine, and I've done this my whole life. Each word landed on Lu Shuiyao like a hammer. She stared at the calm man feeding the fire, and a wave rose in her that she couldn't stop. Marksmanship like a god, a body that survived anything. That was enough to worship. But now learning her own beloved teacher bowed to, that fiancé back home, the one with the famous family, the one she'd never met. Beside this man, he was mud on the ground next to a star in the sky. By evening, Li Jiangwo's search party finally came gasping into the valley. When they found all 4 lost people not just alive, but ringed around a fire drinking hot soup, color in their faces, they couldn't speak. Li and Director Chun traded one look, and it said the same thing in both their eyes. Thank God Lin Xiao came. They owed me another debt they'd never repay. On the way back, Lu Shuiyao, citing her leg, naturally claimed the sidecar of my 3-wheeler. Zhao Yu got crammed into the commune jeep with the guide, watching the girl he wanted pull farther and farther away. In town, the 3 of them got put up at the commune guest house. As I left, Lu Shuiyao called after me, hobbling close, cheeks pink, and held out something wrapped in a handkerchief. This is for you. A jade pendant, warm and smooth, carved with a pair of mandarin ducks. My mother left it to me. A charm. You saved all our lives. I've got nothing to give you back. Think of it as a little of my heart. Head down, voice thin as a mosquito's. I looked at the pendant and at that shy, hopeful face, and I understood. That was no charm. That was a love token. And right as I reached to take it, the Hawkeye flared red across my whole field of view. No warning at all. A blade of danger, deep in the marrow. And the source wasn't her. Wasn't the jade. It was aimed at me. I shut down on the spot. I didn't take the pendant. It's your mother's. Too precious. I can't. But I'll keep your heart in mind. Rest that leg. And I fired up the rig, took Yilan, and vanished into the dark, leaving her standing there clutching the warm jade, watching me go, a hollow opening in her chest. Did he just refuse me? At home, I didn't joke with the women. I shut myself in the study and ran the whole day back. Where had it come from? That warning. The timid Zhao Yu? No. Hawkeye showed me a jealous coward, nothing more. The professor worshipped me. The town toughs I'd already cowed didn't have the nerve and couldn't have triggered an alarm that loud. I turned every face over and found nothing, and the not knowing scraped at me. Days passed quiet. I tightened up anyway. Kept Yilan alert, slept with the Type 56 under my pillow. Nothing came. The warning ebbed like a tide and didn't return. I'd nearly let it go when an unexpected visitor came knocking. Chen Jianjun, the station chief. Alone, quiet, in through the back door. Lin Xiao? There's trouble. Grim as I'd ever seen him. He didn't touch the tea, just dropped his voice and got to it. That survey team you saved, there's a problem with it. The professor checks out, a real provincial expert. The rod is in that student, Zhao Yu. His eyes sharpened. Routine background check. The boy's family is complicated. His father was a high official for the nationalists before liberation. Cleared later, but flagged for watching ever since. And the key thing, he leaned to my ear, dead serious. We intercepted a coded letter he tried to send to Hong Kong. My pupils shrank. Hong Kong. A coded letter. In this era, you didn't have to spell out what those 2 things together meant. Still decoding it. But putting it with this trip into the deep range, we've got reason to believe he isn't hunting any tungsten. He's using the professor's expertise and the survey team for cover, and what he's really after, in the Black Wind Range, is a cache of secret weapons the nationalists buried when they fled. It hit me like lightning, and all at once I understood where that marrow-deep warning had come from. Not Zhao Yu himself. The vast, dark thing behind him, full of malice toward me. They'd learned, somehow, that a king of these hills existed. My hunting and my knowledge of the range threatened their treasure hunt. So they'd marked me, first to remove. Chief, you're saying. We have reason to believe Zhao Yu has more dangerous men behind him. Snakes in the dark, ready to strike you, or the team, anytime. And right now you're the one person who can draw them out of their hole. The organization needs your help. We hope you'll. I raised a hand and cut him off. Wait. My eyes went past him to the window. The Hawkeye was flaring red again, and this time I saw the source clean. Just outside my courtyard wall, in the quiet lane, 2 men in plain padded coats strolling along like passing villagers. One of them carrying a basket, with a time bomb in the bottom of it. Every muscle in me went tight. Through the hawk eye I could see it clear, A crude bomb under a layer of rotten cabbage, enough to flatten my whole courtyard, the alarm clock hands ticking. Under 5 minutes left. Vicious. They didn't just want me dead. They wanted to bury my whole family with me. A wave of killing intent came up out of me like a volcano. Lin Xiao? What is it? Chen saw my face go iron and grabbed for his sidearm. Don't move. Low. An order that left no room. Chief, our guests are here. I told him in 3 fast sentences, voice pitched for him alone. 2 men, one watching, one with a basket, bomb inside, about to blow. His mind went white. A bomb. In broad daylight, in town? He'd never dreamed they had the gall. What do we do? Do. The corner of my mouth pulled into a cold smile. Invite them in. No panic. My head was running faster than it ever had. Chief, follow my lead. Out the back, like you know nothing. Round up your men and seal both ends of that lane. Tight. Block the road only. Don't show your faces. I want them alive. He nodded. And find a way to get the women and children out. Quiet. No spook. Tell them Secretary Lee's hosting at his place. Come join the fun. I had the lie ready in a breath. Move. You've got 3 minutes. He straightened his collar, pasted on a passable smile, and headed for the side room. I went to Yilan in the yard. Lon, whatever you hear next, don't come out. Protect yourself. Understand. She didn't know what was happening, but she read my face and nodded hard. Then I walked back, sat in the main seat, picked up the cold tea, and sipped, eyes fixed through the gap in the window like a hunter on his prey. I watched Chin talk the women and kids out the back. I watched the plainclothes men slide into place at both ends of the lane. A net, drawn quiet, and the 2 enemy agents none the wiser. They reached my gate, traded a glance. The lookout walked on, playing passerby. The other stepped up and set the basket of death gently at my door, then turned to go, casual. Now, I didn't chase the bomb man, no time. My target was the lookout. I came off the wall in a silent vault, flipped clean over the top, dropped behind him in the lane. The strengthened body doing movie stunt work without effort. Before he could breathe relief, an iron hand closed on his throat and hauled him off his feet. The bomb man heard it, spun, saw the whole horror, and bolted. Running. A flick of my wrist, and the bayonet was in my hand. My arm whipped forward. The blade tore the air like a falling star and punched through the back of his right thigh, nailing him to the ground. His scream split the lane, and from both ends Chin's men poured in like tigers off a hill. In a heartbeat, one agent throttled limp, one pinned and bleeding, both finished. But I felt no joy, because I could hear the clock at my door tick down to its last few seconds. Too late to throw it clear. And in that knife's edge instant, my eye locked on the thing in my yard, the great water vat, filled to the brim. A wild, total resolve flashed through me, and a plan came whole. The blast warning howled in my skull. Under 3 seconds. Run, and I might clear it on my own, but the courtyard, the neighbors, gone. So I charged the gate instead, suicide fast, my own speed rung to the human limit, a faint afterimage dragging behind me in the air. I didn't touch the basket. I went for the vat, a stone monster big enough to hold a grown man, 400 pounds of water in it. Hiya! The roar tore out of me, muscle bulging, veins standing like cords. I drove both hands under the base of the vat. Up, and in front of Chun and his men, who looked like they'd seen a ghost, I tore that 1,000-pound stone vat out of the ground, the courtyard brick cracking under my feet, wheeled, and slammed the whole thing, water and all, down onto the little basket at the door. A muffled roar came up from the earth, deep as the planet's gut. The ground bucked. But the fireball and the flying stone everyone braced for never came. At the instant of the blast, the vat and its hundreds of pounds of water crushed the bomb flat and drank 9/10 of the shockwave. Only a great gout of mud and steam and stone shards blew outward. My door shredded. Half the wall came down. And me, standing dead center, got picked up and flung like a cut kite into the main room wall and slid down it and spat blood. Lin Xiao, Master, Chun, and Yilan, both at once. When the smoke cleared, the neat little yard was a ruin. A crater 3 meters wide smoking at the bottom, the doorway all rubble and slop. I lay in it, white as paper, clothes in rags, blood at my mouth. But under the wreck of my body, my mind stayed clear. Bet paid off. I'd taken the whole blast on my back and kept the house, kept every life in it. And right then the Hawkeye flared, not red this time. Gold. blinding gold, and the source was me. I could see it clear, under the double shock of the blast and my own limit break. Something deep in my body had cracked open. An invisible shackle shattered. A flood of warmth, vaster and purer than anything before, surged out of every cell, and where it passed my battered organs knit back together fast enough to watch. Host has, in a life-or-death crisis, broken past the limit. Gene lock, first stage, opened. System upgrading. 10%. 50. 100. Upgrade complete. Congratulations. New enhancements. 1. Hawkeye evolved, True Eye. Range extended to 1.25 miles. Added, see-through vision, most non-metal barriers, effective range 30 feet. Added, microscopic sight, down to the cell. 2. Body across the board, plus 200%, strength, speed, stamina, recovery. 3. Storage upgraded, area expanded by 1,000 cubic meters. Added, 1 spirit spring, whose water speeds plant growth, heals injury and illness, and tempers the body. Out of disaster, fortune. I hadn't just lived. I'd evolved. I could feel a power roaring through me that hadn't been there before. Barehanded, I could have torn a black bear apart now. I'm fine. I sat up out of the rubble, wiped the blood off, and except for the pale face I was whole. The recovery alone rewrote what everyone there thought possible. Lin Xiaoyu. Chen couldn't finish. I didn't explain. My eyes went past the crowd to the pinned agent, the bayonet still through his thigh. Under the True Eye, the whole world had changed. I could see straight through his clothes, his skin, the half-digested food in his gut. And there, sealed in wax in a back molar, a microfilm the size of a grain of rice. That's the break in the case. But just as I opened my mouth to have Chen secure him, a faint sound, a stone breaking the air. PFT. The pinned agent's head jerked, a small hole opening between his brows, and the light went out of him. Dead. A sniper. At least half a mile out, killing his own to silence him. I snapped my head up, drove the True Eye to its limit, looked back along the shot. 2 miles off, atop an abandoned clock tower, a figure in black, goggles, a scope-fitted Mosin Nagant in hand. The shooter felt it, somehow, and lifted their head, looking straight back at me across 2 miles of air. Under the goggles, a pair of eyes, cold, and somehow familiar. And the cruel little smile pulling at the mouth. The instant I saw the face, killing intent swept through me. I didn't know it. But the eyes I knew, cold, venomous, indifferent to life. The eyes only the top kind of hunter wears looking at prey. Except this hunter's prey was people. And the hunter was a woman. A woman who could drop a target from a mile or 2 out and pull back without a wasted motion. My heart sank. I'd crossed something I'd never crossed before. Running. In the instant our eyes met, hers flickered with shock. Then she folded her rifle away and ghosted off the far side of the tower. She'd been rattled by that impossible across-the-distance stare and cut her losses. No praise ever slipped out from under Lin Xiao's eyes. I bolted for the three-wheeler. Lin Xiao? Where are you going? Chun, still reeling. Hunting. I gunned it and shot off like a cannon shell. Yilan made to follow. Chen caught her. Don't. He's after the sniper. We'd only weigh him down. He turned cold to his men. Seal the whole town. And search these two down to their teeth. I don't believe we can't find one thread. Through the streets of Qingshi, it became a chase at the edge of death. I pinned the throttle, True Eye wide. Everything inside 2 miles was mine to read. The woman flitting through the far side of town like a clever wildcat. Fast. Her route vicious and well scouted. Into my hunting ground, and you still think you'll run? With see-through sight, no wall meant anything. I drove the rig straight into the farm fields, the brute, stupid way, plowing a brand new road through cabbage and fence. Shortest distance between 2 points. The gap closed, 2 miles, 1.5 miles, 1. She heard the engine behind her like a death charm and looked back. And when she saw the rig that should have been miles behind coming dead straight at her out of the fields, her cold face cracked for the first time into something like horror. What kind of monster is this man? She gave up the fight and ran for the Black Wind Range. If she could reach the deep forest, she could lose me in the terrain. She didn't know. Playing hide-and-seek in the woods with a man who carries a True Eye would be the stupidest thing she ever did. I throttled down and fell in behind her, patient as the most patient hunter alive, and let myself enjoy it, the first interesting prey I'd had in a long time. Run. Run all you like. What I love most is watching the prey get cornered, inch by inch, in the dark. What I didn't know was that while I chased, Chin's men dug something out of the man with the nailed thigh. A torn treasure map, sewn into a boot sole, a spot deep in the Black Wind Range marked in red, and beside it, a strange little drawing of a scorpion. At the foot of the range, she dove into the thick brush like a panther and vanished. I leaned the rig by the road, looked at the wall of forest, and smiled. Not a trace of worry. Finally, a real one. I took down the Type 56, checked the rounds, and walked in like a king touring his land. True eye open, and the world went transparent. 50 meters, 100, 500. Her every footfall, every breath, every quickened heartbeat, mine. Making for Eagle's sorrow? Good instincts. Sheer cliffs, broken rock, the best ambush ground in the range. I stopped toying and went straight at her like a shell off a barrel. 10 minutes in, she felt me close, spun, saw a black shape crossing the trees against all physics, gaining fast. Monster. Red Scorpion. That was the name on the map, and it was her. Broke for a tumble of boulders, whipped behind one, and in a blink had turned, raised, sighted, ready to ambush the path I'd have to take. But when she had the scope on the spot, the man was gone. Where? Her alarm screamed. Too late. Looking for me? Cold, a touch of mockery, right at her ear. I'd come up silent behind her. The true eye see-through made every cover she had a joke. She threw an elbow at my throat, fast and lethal. To me it crawled like a snail. I caught her wrist. Too weak. A twist. A small crack. She gasped, off balance, and my other hand went for her neck. One clean takedown. And in that instant her eyes flashed with a mad resolve. The wrist I'd locked turned, and a lipstick-sized metal tube slid from her sleeve. She thumbed the button. A jet of crimson, sweet stinking smoke swallowed us both. My head swam. The world doubled. Poison. I held my breath and gave ground. And she did the thing I never expected. She didn't run. She lunged in and bit down on my gun arm, fast and savage as a cornered beast, and left 2 rows of deep marks beating blood. The bite's recoil flung her back and folded her, boneless, into a crack in the rock barely wide enough for one body. By the time the dizziness passed and the smoke cleared, she was gone. I tried to see through the cliff, but Eagle's sorrow runs some metal-bearing mineral that scrambled my sight. I could only just make out her shape, racing away through a natural cave warren inside the stone. Damn, first time prey had slipped me on my own ground, though only by cheating. I stood at the crack, weighed the black mouth of the cave, and let it go. Unknown ground. Traps everywhere. That poison still an unknown. Too far a gamble. I looked at the bite on my arm, the faint sweet scent still clinging. Interesting. And turned for home with the odd certainty I'd cross her again. No reason. Just a feeling. Deep in the cave, Red Scorpion, gasping over her dislocated wrist, touched the blood at the corner of her mouth and the throat his hand had closed on, and her cold eyes held, for the first time, something tangled past reading. Who was this man? I got home at dusk. The 3 women had been frantic. Seeing me whole, they breathed. Master, are you hurt? Where's the bad one? Yilon checked me over. Got away. That shocked all 3. In their minds, what prey ever escaped me? I didn't explain much, just showed them Chin's news and the scorpion-marked map dug off the captive. The monk runs, but the temple stays. My eyes went dark. This map's the chain on her. She'll bring herself back to my door. 3 faces went grave. They knew the man of the house had walked into something enormous. But not one of them flinched. Whatever kind of devil comes for you, we send it back in pieces, Qin Mushua said, with a hardness that didn't match a cadre. Next time I'm coming, master, Yilon vowed, fist clenched. And Bai Xiaozhu just brought out a bowl of soup she'd kept warm. Eat first. No troubles too big to face on a full stomach. Looking at my 3 women, fierce in their different ways, I felt the warmth of a place that would always hold the line at my back. The sniper business went quiet a while, and life slid back into its easy, well-fed rhythm. Except I ran louder now, deliberately, for whatever eyes still watched from the dark. Spring came. The Black Wind Range woke, and one day I announced to the women, the wild greens are up. Time we change the menu. Change it. We eat meat every day. Change to what? Qin Mushua asked. Had enough mountain. Time for some sea. I smiled mysteriously, and next morning rode the rig the 40 miles to the county seat. Qingshi's too small. The county had an aquatic supply depot that served the big units and the cadres. Word ran ahead of me. Lin the hero's gone to the county to buy seafood. In an inland town in 1959, seafood was a fairy tale. Most people had never laid eyes on it, never mind eaten it. Everybody figured I'd come home with my nose bloodied. Buy seafood? With what, a seafood coupon? Then that afternoon the rig came chugging back through a wall of stunned neighbors with an ice-packed wooden crate in the bed. Fish and shrimp and crab nobody could name. Conches the size of wash basins furred with kelp, heaped to the brim, and a thick salt brine sea smell rolling down the whole lane. Heaven above, he actually got it. What did that cost? What coupons? What kind of a mortal is he? Is there anything he can't get? That night the little courtyard hosted a sea feast such as the town had never imagined. Steamed crab, braised prawns, scallion sea fish, garlic scallops with glass noodles, dishes from a future age, recreated out of what was on hand. By Xiaozhu, Qin Mushiwe, Yilan, and the two little girls ate till their lips shone, too happy to talk. Qin Mushiwe, a city cadre, well-traveled, had never once dreamed she'd sit at home and eat seafood like cabbage. She watched me pick crab and feed it to the two girls, and her eyes shone. This man kept resetting the ceiling on what life could be. A few cups of wine in, I looked up at Yilan. Lan, into the hills with me tomorrow. What are we hunting, master? A mysterious curl at my mouth. Ginseng. Ginseng, the stuff of legend medicine. Next morning I took Yilan, fully kit, deep into the range, true eye open, steering a sure line through what looked to her like trackless snow forest. 2 hours and I stopped under a giant red pine. Here, a clean dig, and 100-year wild mountain ginseng came whole out of the ground, every root hair intact. Yilan looked at it, then at me, near worship in her eyes. The day was young, so I led her on, teaching tracking and concealment as we walked. Crossing a frozen creek she slipped. Io, pretending to fall, and I caught her against me. Why so careless? Master, she breathed, leaning into me, cheeks pink, eyes melting. I can't walk another step. Little fox. I knew exactly what she was after. I swept her up off her feet, and the rest of that stretch of mountain stayed between us. It was afternoon when we came back to town, Yilan walking a little unevenly, a satisfied flush on her face. I didn't go home first. I took her to the clinic. Su Wanqing was sorting medicine and went pink and flustered seeing us. Brother Lin, Comrade Yilan, what brings you? A favor. I set the box with the 100-year ginseng in front of her, and when I opened it her eyes flew wide. Born to a family of traditional doctors, she knew exactly what she was looking at. A 100-year wild ginseng? Heavens! Hand over her mouth. Wanqing, you're the professional. I won't trust this to anyone else. I need you to preserve it properly, the expert way, and cut the top section, the reed, and get it to the provincial capital, to an old professor named Zhou Wenba. Tell him it's from me, for his health. Lu Shuiao I meant to have, but I had no line to her except through Zhou, the middleman. Sure enough, Su Wanqing flushed crimson with the thrill of being trusted. Brother Lin, I will. By our family's own methods, I'll process it perfect, not a trace of potency lost. Just then the door pushed open and a careworn man half carried in a sallow, cracked-lipped woman. Dr. Su, please, look at my wife. No strength for days, dizzy, can't keep food down. Su Wanqing got her seated and started an exam. But under the true eye I could see clean, no disease in her at all. Every symptom pointed at one plain, terrible cause, long starvation, severe anemia and collapse. Plainly put, hunger. Su Wanqing came to the same conclusion and faced the man, helpless. Brother, she's not sick. She's just weak. She needs building up. Building up how? The man nearly wept. There's no grain at home. The wild greens are dug out. We've drunk thin gruel for days. Doctor, please, something. There's no medicine for that. So I spoke up. Take this. Stew it for her. Out of my pack came a wild pheasant, cleaned. Small, but in a year when people were eating chaff, a chicken was a life-saving pill. I can't take this, the man cried, eyes red, waving it off. Take it. I have somewhere to be. And I left before he could refuse, Yilan in tow. Su Wanqing watched me go, eyes shining, strong and kind. On the road, Yilan frowned. Master, that woman didn't seem like one of ours. No, Her accent's from Lujiaoan, downriver, down on the plain, the big farming village below the mountain hamlets. By rights, this time of year, every household down there should still have grain in store. And here was their woman, starved enough to come begging a doctor in town. A bad sign. I looked up at the hard, glaring sun. A month into spring, and not a wisp of cloud, a dry, uneasy edge in the air. I knew it. The 3-year drought I remembered, the one that scattered millions, that drove people in the worst places to swap children for the pot. Its overture had begun. I didn't carry that black mood home. To me, the sky could fall. There's always a tall man to hold it up, and I'm the tallest. Qin Mushua met me at the gate in a pale blue Dacron shirt sent up from the provincial capital, and I whistled despite myself. "What are you looking at?" she scolded, pink, with a charm that could pull the soul out of a man. "Looking at how pretty our Mushua got." A swat at her, a squeak. Dinner was lavish to the point of obscenity, by Xiuzhu turning plain boar into braised, sauce-fried, and stewed all at once. I told them what I'd seen at the clinic. Even Lujiaoan's short on grain. Qin Mushua's face went grave. I heard it at the office too. Not one good rain since spring, several villages reporting the wheat seedlings drying up. Yes, Bai Xiuzhu fretted. The wild greens should be running wild by now, and half the slopes are still bare. Only Yilan stayed careless, piling food in my bowl. What's there to fear? With Master here, the sky can fall, and we won't go hungry. Clever girl. I pinched her cheek. Looking at my 3 women, I felt my blood rise. Drought, famine, other men's apocalypse was, for me, a chance to spread my hands wide and take wealth and standing in a grip nobody could break. Late that night, in my room, the lamp still burned, Bai Xiuzhu kneading my legs, Qin Mushua reading the newspaper aloud in a voice like an oriole, Yilan curled at the foot of the bed like a cat, watching her master with worshipful eyes. This was the household now, and giving each her due was the head of the house's one firm principle. Soft warmth on every side. What more could a man want? Husband, the bath's ready, Bai Xiuzhu murmured, and I rose, and the 3 of them, each lovely in her own way, drew their one man into the steam. While I prepared for the great hungry years to come, 20 miles off, in Kaoshan village, the Lin family lived through the worst new year of their lives. The meat and flour I'd handed the whole village had landed on Lin Laojin, my father, like a ringing slap, and knocked the last spirit out of him. The stubborn, domineering old man had become a husk, lying on the brick bed day and night, staring at the rafters, regret gnawing him like a snake. He kept seeing it. How, a year ago, Lin Xiao had pulled the family up into good days. How he'd swallowed his eldest son and daughter-in-law's poison and driven out the very one who'd made them rich. The cold, betrayed look in the boy's eyes as he walked out. I was wrong. He'd weep in the dead of night, beating his own chest. I'm the worst sinner in this house. With my own hands I pushed our luck out the door. Zhanglan wept all day. It's retribution. All of it. Lin Dajuan and Wang Cuihua had lost their footing entirely. They'd thought that without me they could swallow every good thing themselves. Reality slapped them. Without me, Dajuan in the hills was a headless fly, couldn't drop a boar, couldn't even turn up a hair. The income dried, the days slid down. Worse was the village. Once the rich household everyone fawned on, now the whole village's cautionary tale, pointed at and whispered about, scorn cutting them like knives. Dad, Mom, we can't go on like this. Dajuan finally broke, staring into a pot of rice water you could see your face in. Let's go to town, find third brother. We'll kowtow. We'll beg him to forgive us. Yes, beg him, Cuihua sobbed. If he'll forgive us, I'll be his ox, his horse. But Lin Laojin, silent all this while, sat slowly up, and for the first time there was a clear, hard light in his clouded eyes. Too late, he rasped. We've no right to any more. He shuffled to the door and looked toward town, and the tears slid down his creased face again. With our own hands we cut this blood tie. Some wrongs, once done, leave no way back. The days went on, and the weather turned strange. All spring, not one real rain for 100 miles around Qingshi. The sun hung tireless and baked the ground to cracks, the riverbeds to dust. The wheat yellowed, then died in sheets. The panic spread through the countryside like plague. Heaven means to kill us. No rain, and it's a total loss this year. The 1959 drought had bared its teeth. To villages already scraping the edge of survival, it was ruin. To my household, another world. The well in my yard still pushed up clear, sweet water. I'd long since laid in enough grain to feed 1,000 people 3 years. While all of Qingshi began to worry over a mouthful of food and water, my courtyard still smelled of rice and meat. And I even opened a small vegetable plot out back, watered with precious well water and the spirit spring, cucumbers and tomatoes and bok choy coming up greener and lusher than any harvest in a good year. A patch of paradise in a dying town. Kaoshan village had it worse than the town. The river quit. People queued at a spring miles off. The crops were finished. Households dug roots, gnawed bark. The Lins hit the bottom of the well. Lin Laojian bedridden and groaning. No medicine. Dajun roaming the hills all day for not a tuft of hair. Suehua sitting in the doorway like a mad woman, cursing toward town. The day the last of the corn flour ran out, the pot held only cloudy water that could barely be called soup, and the whole family sank into despair. And then Zhao Jiangwo, the village head, knocked, a few militiamen behind him carrying a bulging sack. "This is from Lin Xiao," Zhao said, with a sigh, pointing at it. The four of them froze like they'd been struck by lightning. Lin Xiao? Sending them something? Dajun scrambled over and tore the sack open, and a clean grain smell came up. Not chaff, not coarse grain. Golden, full corn kernels. A full 100 caddies. In a year when even the rats had nothing, a mountain of gold. Lin Laojin struggled upright, and a terribly complicated light crossed his clouded eyes. He understood. This wasn't forgiveness. This was a higher, crueler punishment, one aimed at the heart. Zhao sighed again and drew out a sheet of paper. Lin Xiao said, "He and the Lin family are finished, this life and the next. But this grain settles the last debt, what he owed for being raised. This is a letter severing kinship. From now on, his life and fortune have nothing to do with you. And yours, full or starving, sick or dead, nothing to do with him. 100 caddies of corn, enough to carry you through the disaster year. Ration it, or trade it for your father's medicine. That's your choice." He folded it. He said, "That's all. Mind yourselves." And he left them staring at the life-saving grain and the thin sheet of paper that weighed 1,000 pounds. Suehua wailed, worse than before. She'd have rather he ignored them, left them to live or die, than handed down this charity laced with shame and pity. Dajun clutched the sack and bawled like a child. And Lin Laojin stared at that severance letter a long, long time, then gave a ghastly laugh as 2 slow tears slid down. He knew he'd lost. Totally, to the bone. Not just the wealth of his later years, the last shred of a father's dignity. The son he'd raised with his own hands had cut every tie in the most final way there was. Strangers from now on. And as late, true repentance would never have a way to reach the boy at all. While Kaoshan choked on despair, my courtyard stayed full of song. The drought worsened. The town grew grim. The co-op's grain shelves were long bare. Strict rationing came in, and hunger became everyone's only subject. Against that, my courtyard with its daily smell of meat became a thing both glaring and feared. A king standing apart from a suffering world, easy and strong. One afternoon, I took my old heavy bicycle out and wandered the back lanes, wanting to see with my own eyes how bad it had gotten. The deeper in, the bleaker, lanes once loud with children empty now, every door shut, a dead, despairing air. Turning into a blind alley at the town's edge, I caught a low, swallowed sobbing from under a broken wall. I went quiet and looked. A woman crouched there, shoulders heaving, weeping hard, a cracked clay pot before her holding some muddy wild green slop. Beside her stood a girl of 16 or so, her own eyes red, trying helplessly to comfort her. The woman was maybe 25, patched old clothes, hair loose, and even so a striking beauty, an oval face, brows like distant hills, skin near translucent in the afternoon light. "Mom, don't cry. You'll only get weaker," the girl choked. "It's my fault. If I'd held the bowl steady, the food wouldn't have spilled." "It's not your fault." The woman lifted a tear-streaked face, her voice full of despair. "It's mine. No use. Your mother, letting you both starve with me." And looking at the slop now mixed with dirt on the ground, she broke down sobbing. They'd spilled their one bit of food. I didn't step out yet. I opened the true eye and read them. The woman was Lu Ruyan, a clerk at the town grain station, widowed 2 years back. The girl, Lin Wanner, her stepdaughter. A grain station clerk shouldn't be starving even in a drought. But the true, I gave the answer fast. Her dead husband's parents, mean and grasping, had treated her and the stepdaughter as dead weight since the funeral, beating them, docking their whole ration. Today the two of them had begged this scrap of green slop off her own family and then spilled it. I sighed. I'm no saint. But watching a woman like that and a girl that young starved to death sat wrong with me. I took two still warm white flour buns from my bag, really from the storage, wrapped in oil paper, rang the bicycle bell loud, and rolled out of the alley mouth like a passerby. Hey, sisters, what's the trouble? They jumped, looked up at a tall, good-looking young man watching them with concern. It's nothing, Lu Rian said quickly, wiping her eyes, scrambling up to hide her shame. Lin Wanner put herself in front of her mother, wary. I smiled and held out the oil paper bundle. Looks like you haven't eaten in a while. I'm just out from home. Got a couple of buns, still warm. If you don't mind, take the edge off. White buns, the smell of real wheat. Both their eyes locked on them. We can't take your things, comrade, Lu Rian said, waving, dizzy as she was. Take them, I said, no room in it. You don't look local. Hard times for everyone. We help each other. And I pressed the bundle into the girl's arms, gave the beautiful woman one long look that fixed her face in my mind, swung onto the bike and rode off. They stood watching me go a long while. Mom, who was that? Why'd he give us buns? The girl murmured. Lu Rian shook her head. She didn't know him. She only knew that young man's eyes had set something fluttering in her chest. She looked at the two white buns, then at the cold slop on the ground, and the tears came again, but this time, under the despair, something else that she couldn't name. I didn't think much more on it. 2 buns are nothing to a man as rich as I'd become. And the hunger in Qingshi went on swallowing people's hope and dignity. The streets emptier in number, the market down to a few souls trading their last old keepsakes for a mouthful of food and getting almost nothing for them. Even antiques worth nothing when grain's worth gold. Late one night, thirsty, I got up quiet for water, and crossing the yard I stopped. True eye open, and on the far side of the wall, a deliberately hushed argument carried clear. Next door lived Wang Jianmin, deputy director of the town's textile mill, a man of 40-odd, always in a crisp tunic suit, hair slicked, a leader's airs. Better known was his wife, Zhou Yurong, called the loveliest woman in Qingshi, near 30 and beautifully kept, fair-skinned, willowy, a real beauty, a goddess to half the men in town. Wang Jianmin, are you even human? How can you say something so heartless? Zhou Yurong, furious and despairing. Not human. His voice, low and savage and frantic. If I don't do this, we all starve. There's not a grain of rice in the house. Your precious son started gnawing bark today. Are you a mother or aren't you? Can you watch him die? But you can't sell me. Sell you and what of it? Better than the whole family dying. A mad edge now. It's settled. It's out of your hands. I've already passed word to that Lin Shao on the South River Bank. The only house in town with grain left, more than they can eat. He's got a few women already, but a man like that won't mind one more. You're the only thing of value left in this house. Go to him a few days, and we'll all eat well after. Now wash up, dress nice. And if you ruin this, don't blame me for what I do to your son. A woman's weeping, a man's curses, filth I won't repeat. I stood under my wall and heard it all out, my face still. Selling a wife. So the famine had gotten this vicious. Even the man next door down to his last card. But I'm not a man ruled by greed or lust. Forcing someone to me with hunger is not a thing I'd do. I turned and went back to bed, soft warmth on either side. And yet, despite myself, that beautiful tear-streaked face next door floated up in my mind. And on another thread, things had shifted too. In the province, at the Geology University's hospital, Professor Zhou wept over a telegram. A reply from an old friend, a top authority in the capital, praising the potency of that ginseng reed beyond measure, saying that if the whole main root could be found, they would pay any price. And in another ward, Lu Shuiyao took a call from home, her so-called fiancé's mother, in a tone of cold charity, informing her that next week she'd be discharged and engaged to the woman's son. For 2 days I lived easy, like I knew nothing of next door, puzzled only that the go-between Wang Jianmin had mentioned never came. My senses lay over the surrounding lanes like a net. Then, Deep on the third night, a furtive sound came over the wall. My eyes snapped open. Here. I dressed and went silent to the back corner, true eye open, the wall gone to nothing. Next door, Wang Jianmin was hauling his weeping wife toward the gate, and trailing them a shifty, rat-faced man I half knew. A grain speculator they called Li the Rat, a black market dealer with a foul name. So the coward Wang, thinking it over, hadn't dared come to me direct. He'd routed his wife, through Li the Rat, to a newly rich widower out on the east, and with grain to spare, Butcher Lu. 50 caddies of corn flour, 10 of white, for the loveliest woman in Qingshi. To them, a steal. I watched them go, face still as a dry well, and didn't move yet. I waited maybe 10 minutes, judged them near the handoff, then wheeled out my old heavy bicycle, not the showy rig. Tonight, I'd be a kind passerby riding home late. The East End threshing ground, the loneliest corner of Qingshi, empty by habit. A big, coarse, fat man paced there, Butcher Lu. Soon Li the Rat and Wang Jianmin came into the moonlight with Zhou Yurong. Brother Lu. Brought her for you. Li fawned. Lu's eyes lit, fixed on her with a greed he didn't bother hiding, like he'd eat her alive. Good, good. Even prettier than the picture. Director Wang, rest easy. With me she'll eat meat every day. And he reached a greasy hand for her arm. She screamed and shrank back, terror and disgust in her eyes. And her own husband seized her from behind so she couldn't move. Hold still. In that instant her heart died. She shut her eyes, and 2 clean tears slid down. And just as the dirty hand was about to touch her, a bright bicycle bell, near and clear, rang across the dead ground. Everyone jerked toward it. A tall figure came rolling up, unhurried, his shadow drawn long and strange and heavy in the moonlight. Who's there? Lu barked. Oh, late to be out. Admiring the moon, are we? I stopped before them, a touch of amusement on my face, the very picture of a man riding home by chance. Wang Jianmin and Li the Rat saw who it was and went white to the lips. Lin the hero. Here. How Lu? Lust drowning sense, blustered. Boy, mind your own business. My hog knife doesn't care who you are. Oh, is that so? I didn't fear it. I smiled. My eyes went past the men to the trembling, tear-bright woman. Sister, I don't think I know you. What's wrong? You don't look happy. Did they wrong you somehow? She stared at the handsome man dropped out of nowhere, half stunned. Wang Jianmin was past terror now. No, a misunderstanding. Hero Lin, a misunderstanding. This is my wife. We had a little quarrel, came out to clear our heads. Clear your heads. My voice went cold. Looks more like a sale to me. I nodded at the grain sack at Lu's feet. That little bit of grain, to buy a woman like a flower? Director Wang, is your wife worth so little? The words cut into her, and tore Wang's last fig leaf away. He stammered nothing. I got off the bike and walked straight up to Butcher Lu. Looked at the sack. Looked at him. Here's how it goes. I'll add 1 sack of rice. This woman's mine now. Quiet, every word iron. Dead silence on the threshing ground. Wang and Li, cowed by the weight off me, didn't dare breathe. Zhou Yurong's head came up, staring at the man who'd crashed into her fate, a despair worse than her husband's betrayal rising in her. We've never met. Why? Am I really just a thing to be marked up and sold? Only Butcher Lu, past his shock, went purple. The duck off his plate, snatched away. He bellowed, Who do you think you are? I saw her first. I moved. Nobody saw it. A crack. His fat bulk spun twice like a charging bull had hit it and went down in the dirt, half his face swelling fast around a clean 5-finger print. One more word, and I'll mince you for the hogs. Cold, no feeling in it. The slap broke something in him. He looked into eyes like a 10,000-year frozen pool, and a fear out of his soul drowned all the lust and rage. He scrambled up, left the life-saving grain where it lay, and fled into the dark. I turned back to her. No smug grin, nothing she'd braced for. I unhitched a heavy sack from my rack and dropped it at Wang Jianmin's feet. It split, white rice pouring out. 50 caddies. Then a second sack, 50 of corn flour. In a year when chaff was a memory, worth a gold bar each. Wang's eyes went straight, his breath ragged. Hero Lin Yu. Take it, I said flat. Call it me settling the debt for the years you raised her. My eyes sharpened. From now on, she, Zhou Yurong, has nothing more to do with you, Wang Jianmin. Live or die, honor or shame, none of it touches you. Understood. His knees buckled under my stare. He didn't dare a single no. He looked at the rice, looked at his beautiful wife, and nodded like a hen pecking grain. Understood. I'll write the divorce paper now. And he hauled up both sacks and ran without a backward glance. And with that, her heart finished dying. She watched the husband who'd cast her off for 50 caddies of rice flee, and the last light went out of her. She stood alone on the empty ground, a puppet the whole world had thrown away, with nowhere to go. Then a warm, thick coat settled over her shoulders. She looked up into my eyes. No greed there, no claiming, just calm, and a faint thread of pity. Let's go, I said. 2 words. Go where? My house. I can't. She stepped back, wary, humiliated. I'm not a thing. I won't be passed around again. She thought I was the same as Lou, as her husband, after her body. You're overthinking it. I shook my head, voice level. I saved you because I happened by, and happened to find it hard to watch. I turned and wheeled the bike, my back to her. My courtyard's big, plenty of empty rooms. Stay a while. Nobody will bother you. When you've decided where to go, anytime. As for the rice, call it me buying your husband's dignity, which, it turns out, isn't worth much. And I started off, no force, no threat, not another glance. I'd only given her a choice, back to a house with no warmth left, more shame and hunger, or after this strange strong man to some unknown harbor that at least looked like it'd keep the wind off. She stood in the night wind, shivering in her thin clothes, watching that safe, receding back, looking at her own frozen purple hands and her ruined heart. Then she bit her lip, and with what looked like the last of her strength, stepped after me. When I brought a dazed, tear-streaked beauty home, Qin Mushiwe and Bai Xiuzhu, waiting up by the lamp, were stunned. Lin Xiao, this is Zhou Yuro, Director Wang's ex-wife. I gave it short, then to the woman who'd run out of decisions. The east room's empty. Xiuzhu, take her over. Heat some water, get her washed, find her clean clothes. All right. Full of questions, Bai Xiuzhu still answered gently, took the cold hand, and said softly, Sister, don't be afraid. You're home now. Come with me. That word, sister, and the warmth in it, with no edge of rivalry, melted a corner of Zhou Yurong's frozen heart, and her tears came again. Zhou Yurong's arrival made few waves. Under Bai Xiuzhu's gentle care, she thawed a little, still quiet, still keeping her distance from me, but willing now to leave her room and help with what she could. I didn't push. I waited like a patient hunter for the prey to walk out of its own cage. And the news from the province kept my mood high. That 100-year ginseng would be the lever to pry loose something much bigger. One day I lay in the yard, eyes shut, Yilan kneading my temples, Qin Mushiwe reading the girls a picture book, when a hurried, tearful cry came at the gate. Brother Lin, are you home? My eyes snapped open. Su Wanqing. Yilan opened up, and there she stood, those usually gentle eyes swollen red as ripe peaches, her wash-thin nurse's uniform torn in places, the whole of her helpless and wretched. Wanqing, what happened? I was up and steadying her in a stride. She saw me and broke, flinging herself into my arms, sobbing. Soft warmth against me, a protective heat rising in my chest. Don't cry. I'm here. The sky won't fall. I patted her back. Qin Mushiwe and Bai Xiuzhu crowded in, all concern. The story came out in pieces. The Su family had run out of grain too. A nurse's wage and pitiful ration couldn't feed 5 aged parents, 2 growing brothers. Their thin savings hit bottom. Yesterday the pot stayed cold. And then the town grain station chief, a greasy fat man of 50-odd, widowed years, had sent a matchmaker to the Sus. Hand over their flower of a daughter as his second wife, and he'd pay 100 caddies of corn flour as bride price. 100 caddies, a mountain of gold in a year when a life was cheaper than grass. The parents wavered. To them a station chief meant their girl never went hungry again, and the grain would save the whole family. So over her weeping they agreed. This morning the fat chief came with the matchmaker to look the girl over, even tried to put his hands on her. She fought. Her own son-favoring father slapped her hard across the face, and she'd run for her life, with nowhere on earth to go but the one man who'd given her a pen once, who'd saved her colleague, who stood in her mind like a god. Brother Lin, I beg you, take me in, she wept, gripping my sleeve, despair in her eyes. I won't marry that old man. I'd rather die. I'll be your ox, your horse, scrub the chamber pots, wash the clothes. Anything, just don't make me marry him. Looking at her swollen eyes and the clear slap print on her pale cheek, fury blazed up in me. Ox and horse. My voice went cold and hard. A woman of mine, working like an ox? Not just Su Wanqing, Qin Mushiwe, and Bai Xiuzhu froze too. I looked down at the startled nurse and declared it, no room for argument. You, Su Wanqing, from today you're Lin Zhao's properly wed fourth wife. What? She went blank. He means to marry me? But my parents. A cold curl at my mouth. If they'd sell their daughter for 100 caddies of corn flour, there's nothing left to discuss. I turned to the others. Mushiwe, to the grain store, fetch me 500 caddies of rice. Lan, my room, those 10 gold bars shopkeeper's son sent. Bring them out. Master, you're going to ask for her hand. My eyes blazed. He wants a bride price? Fine. He asked 100 caddies of corn flour. I'll give 500 of rice and 10 gold bars. I'll let all of Qingshi see exactly how valuable a daughter the Su family tried to sell. And I'll let them see how grandly, how proudly, a woman of mine is taken. Every woman in the yard was struck dumb by the sheer swagger of it. Su Wanqing most of all, staring at the man who'd throw a fortune down for her heart already full to bursting. She knew she'd lost herself to him for good. Half an hour later, in the Su's shabby courtyard, the fat station chief was haggling spit-flecked with the parents when the rig came roaring up like an iron beast and stopped dead at the gate. I swung off, Qin Mushiwe and Yilan behind. Qin with a heavy wooden box, Yilan shouldering a bulging sack. She dropped the sack and split it. White rice flooded out. Qin set the box on the stone table and threw back the lid. Gold light blinded the yard. 10 little gold bars, deadly tempting in the sun. The Su family gives a daughter, I said, a roll of thunder through the whole courtyard. Lin Zhao comes to lay down the bride price. 500 caddies of rice for the table, 10 gold bars for the gift. To take, Su Wanqing. The yard went to stone. The parents gaped from the white rice mountain to the blinding gold. 500 caddies, 10 bars. This was no bride price. This was a treasury, enough to lift them from near-starving wretches to a household no one in Qingshi dared cross. The smug fat chief went ashen and dropped to the ground on weak legs. His 100 caddies of corn flour beside this was a heap of dung. He looked at the man fallen out of heaven and couldn't even muster envy, only fear and awe. You. The father stammered, fingers shaking between me and his daughter behind me. Well, my eyes cooled. Too little? Or have you already promised her to this fat hog? No. The mother snapped to first, shoved the chief clear like a hen guarding food, and heaped on the fawning. Hero Lin, you taking a fancy to our Wanqing. That's our family's grave smoking with good fortune, 8 lifetimes of blessing. Too little? Never. She rounded on the old man. Don't just sit there. Pour the son-in-law tea. That word, son-in-law, settled it. The farce ended with maximum drama. The fat chief crawled off, and Su Wanqing, by a marriage of gold and grain, became, openly and properly, my woman, eyes shining with worship and gratitude. She'd never hold another man in her heart again. The news tore through Qingshi like a force 12 gale. 500 caddies of rice. 10 gold bars. Is he marrying a wife or a fairy out of heaven? Gold bars for a bride price, when everyone's starving. My standing hit a new peak, and my household, a political advisor, a house manager, a trainee, and now a medic, became a strong, harmonious, faintly mythic legend in everyone's mouth. And in that broken alley at the town's edge, Lu Rian and her stepdaughter Lin Wanner heard it too. Mom, that big brother who gave us the buns, he married Nurse Su. Lu Rian said nothing, sitting on the bed's edge, looking out the window. The two of them had scraped by on those buns and some green roots, and she knew it couldn't last. Hunger, an unseen beast, was eating their last strength. She'd thought of going to him, but as what? To beg? The last of her pride wouldn't let her. And she'd heard he already had 4 beauties. What claim did a fated widow with a girl in tow have on him? Just as a thread of despair crept in, bang, 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 a brutal knocking. Lu Ruyan, open up, a shrill, mean woman's voice. Her cruel mother-in-law. The door slammed open and the venomous old woman shoved in with 2 leering louts. What do you want? Lu Rian put Wanner behind her. Want? The crone sneered, pointing at her, telling the toughs, her. Take her. 100 caddies of corn flour, not a kernel short. She'd sold her too. Let go of my mother. Warner rushed in, biting and clawing. Little wretch off. One lout flung the thin girl down. Her forehead struck the table corner and split, blood at once. Warner. Lu Ruyan shrieked and lunged, but the other had her arm, dragging her out with a filthy laugh. Help! Help! She screamed. And who, in a year of every soul for itself, would meddle? And in the instant before she went over the threshold into the pit. Stop! Cold, waited with authority, a thunderclap at the door. Everyone froze. I stood there, hands behind my back, my face dark enough to drip water, Yilan beside me with a stick and murder in her eyes. We'd been heading out with something for the Seuss and happened to hear the screaming. Hero Lin, the crone and the two toughs nearly dropped to their knees on the spot. I ignored them. My eyes went to the two huddled, terrified women. The stubborn girl with blood on her brow still shielding her mother. The beautiful woman, clothes torn, tears down her face. A nameless fire came up in me. I'm no saint, no living bodhisattva, but I have a line. And the ugly sight of the strong selling the weak like goods had crossed it. I walked in slow, every step on their hearts. I think I just heard you say, you want to buy her. For 100 caddies of corn flour. My voice came up out of the deepest cold. It froze the crone and the two louts to shivering. A misunderstanding, Hero Lin. Our family's own business, the old woman managed. Family business? A cruel curl at my mouth. I gave Yilan a look. She got it. A sharp cry, and the stick whipped out like a dragon off the sea. Crack, crack, two sounds, and the two toughs who'd been so fierce a second ago went down screaming, kneecaps shattered, before they could even react. The crone's eyes rolled white, and she fouled herself where she stood, a stink filling the room. I didn't waste another glance on the garbage. I went to Warner, crouched, drew a clean handkerchief, and dabbed the blood off her brow, gentle as the thunder a moment before had been hard. Still hurt. She stared up at me, the warmth on her forehead, and forgot to answer, just nodded and shook her head at once. And Lu Ruyan watched it all with a tangle in her eyes, shock, gratitude, fear, and a thread of something like reliance. Twice now. Twice this man had come like a hero at their lowest. You're Lu Ruyan. I stood and faced her. Yes. I'll ask you once. Dead serious. Do you want to go back to that house? She shuddered. Back to the house that called her dead weight. That would sell her for grain. She shook her head hard, hate and resolve in her eyes. Good. I turned to the stunned neighbors at the door and said it like a proclamation. From today, Lu Ruyan and Lin Warner are under Lin Zhao's protection. If her husband's family dares come bother them again, these three on the floor are what they get. Cold iron. Protection. In a year when a life ran cheaper than grass and a woman cheaper still, the word was a luxury beyond price. Lu Ruyan watched that steady back and the tears came, but this time, no despair in them. A new life. I left the trash for Chief Chun, who'd be along to clean it up, and took the dazed mother and daughter home. Stepping into the courtyard, that other world, clean and bright and warm with the smell of meat, those impossibly lovely women, they stood amazed, like in a dream. Yilan told the others what had happened, and there wasn't an ounce of hostility in the women's eyes, only sympathy. Bai Xiuzhu came first, took Lu Ruyan's cold hand. Sister, don't be afraid. You're home. This is your home now. Qin Muxue fetched the medicine box and dressed the girl's brow herself, gentle. And the two little ones crowded the new big sister with curiosity and pressed their hoarded candy into Lin Warner's hands. The warmth, sudden and without any catch in it, fell like sunlight into a frozen heart. That night, Bai Xiuzhu and Qin Muxue made up a clean, comfortable west room for them, fresh quilts smelling of sun. I didn't disturb them, they needed time to take in the day. Late, in that west room, Lin Warner slept deep and safe, a small smile on her. But Lu Ruyan lay awake, the day running over and over. A man like a god out of the sky, twice now, who'd dragged them up out of hell and given them a roof. Why? Just pity? She didn't believe it. She knew she had her share of looks, and in this year beauty wasn't a blessing but an original sin. She was afraid, out of the tiger's mouth, into the wolf's den. Even if this den looked so warm, so tempting. As she lay tangled in it, the door eased open and a tall shape came in silent. Lin Xiao. Her heart shot to her throat. She clutched the quilt, trembling. Come to collect his payment? He said nothing, just crossed to the bed in the bright moonlight and looked at the tense, guarded beauty. He reached out a hand. Her heart hit bottom. She shut her eyes in despair. And the expected thing never came. His hand only drew the slipped quilt up and tucked it back over her, and set something by her pillow. A bowl, still steaming, 2 poached eggs floating in red sugar water. Sleep early, he said, soft, and turned and went, drawing the door shut behind him. She opened her eyes and stared at the sweet-smelling bowl, at the gently closed door, and the tears slid down, but with no grief in them now, no fear. Only a vast gratitude, and a flutter she hadn't noticed in herself. This man was unlike any she'd known. He truly respected her. What she didn't know was that while she sat overcome by a bowl of sugar water, a struggle session was getting underway in my room. Qin Muxue, in a silk nightdress, legs crossed, sat in the carved chair like a queen interrogating a prisoner. Confess. Today, you took a fancy to another one, didn't you? The room held a grave atmosphere. Qin Muxue lounged against the headboard in a silk slip sent up from the provincial capital, the thin fabric doing nothing to hide her figure, and fixed me with a look that crawled. Confess. Today, you took a fancy to another one, didn't you? Brought her sugar water yourself, no less. How long's it been since any of us got that treatment? Beside her, Yilan sat cross-legged in a flimsy little top, long legs swinging, saying nothing but staring me down in solidarity. Only Bai Xiuzhu kept her gentle way, sitting on the bed's edge helping me out of my coat. Muxue stopped teasing him. He was saving people today. Saving people? Qin Muxue made a face, sour. Looks more like somebody's chivalry runs hot for women with figures and faces. Last time the pretty nurse, this time a pretty widow. Who's next, I wonder? The jealousy delighted me. A woman jealous is a woman who's got you in her heart. I didn't explain, just grinned and pounced, pinning her under me before she could rise. What? Get off, she squealed, face scarlet, struggling for form's sake. Off. I'm punishing a political advisor who threw a fit over nothing. Seems I've let my, ideological work slip lately. A hand went wandering, and the interrogation collapsed in a soft gasp. Yilan laughed and pounced too, latching onto my waist from behind. Master, you're playing favorites. I want ideological work too. And the room filled with spring. Next morning I rose clear-headed, the household harmony restored. Lu Ruyan and her daughter were thawing into the warm, lively family. Little Lin Wanner already running with the 2 small girls, the courtyard loud with children's laughter all day. Lu Ruyan watched the real smile come back to her daughter's face and felt her gratitude deepen, often standing on the veranda just to look at the man who stayed steady as a mountain in the middle of all those beauties. Then word came from Kaoshan village. Lin Laojian was dying. The drought and a sick heart, regret eating inward, had broken him for good, bedridden, raving, near the end. Lin Dajuan and Wang Zuohua were frantic to come find me. Zhao Zhengwo kept blocking them. Yilan watched me, worried, while she kneaded my temples. I listened with no expression and shook my head. Nothing to do with me. Then, eyes on the far sky, he won't die. Under the true eye I could see it. His breath a thread, but his span not used up. It was a sickness of the heart, the poison fire of regret roasting him day and night. No medicine for that. Leave him to it. And I put it out of my mind. The days passed. The courtyard grew more harmonious, and Zhou Yurong, in the East Room, took to dropping by, sewing and gossiping with Bai Xiuzhu and Qin Muxue. One afternoon, Su Wanqing came with a medicine box. Brother Lin, Sister Qin, Sister Bai. She flushed through her greetings. I'm here to check on Sister Zhou. Cast off by Wang Jianmin, Zhou Yurong's health had slid, a damaged heart meridian, in the old medicine's terms. That set something turning in me. I took Su Wanqing to my study and got to it. Zhou Yurong and Lu Ruyan, their sickness is in the heart. Medicine alone won't cure it. I know, she said, head down. But heart sickness is hard to treat. Heart sickness needs heart medicine, I said, a curl at my mouth. And I happen to have 2 doses. I stepped close, voice going warm. Wanqing, I need a favor. Tonight, I'd like you, and Zhou Yurong, and Lu Ruyan, to have dinner with me. That night the dining room held a different kind of meal. No big dishes, just a few light, fine plates and a pot of warm fruit wine. For at the table, me and the 3 patients, while the others tactfully ate elsewhere with the children. It started stiff, 3 women with their heads down. I poured each a cup. Try it. I brewed it myself. Calms the nerves. They sipped, sweet, mellow, a faint flower and fruit warmth spreading through the limbs, and the tension eased. Color came into their cheeks. Sister Zhou, I said into the quiet, I hear you were a performer at the textile mill once. Danced well. She started, then dimmed. All in the past. Best not spoken of. Why not? My look went earnest. The most beautiful thing in a woman is confidence. I looked from her to Lu Ruyan and said it word by word. Being cast off by a man isn't your fault. The fault is in their blind eyes, and in this rotten age. You did nothing wrong. You're still beautiful, still fine. What you're missing isn't anything in yourselves, only a stage to bloom on again. It hit them like a thunderclap. They looked up, disbelieving. No man had ever spoken to them like that. I'll put it here, plainly. I went on, certainty and promise in it. If you're willing, then from today, whatever you've lost, I'll win back for you doubled. That Wang Jianmin who threw you away, I'll have him on his knees regretting it. That family who drove you to the wall, I'll teach them what real despair feels like. And you, Wan Qing, I turned to her, gentle. That fat man who thought 100 caddies of cornflour could buy you. I'll make him understand you're a treasure I couldn't trade a fortune for. I stood and went to them. No improper move. I only tucked a loose strand of hair behind Zhou Yurong's ear, wiped a tear from the corner of Lu Ruyan's eye, took Su Wanqing's cold hand and pressed it to my lips. Trust me. And looking at 3 tear-bright, shaken beauties, I said it in a voice that could sink any woman. The heart medicine, domineering and tender at once, took them whole. The next morning, when Zhou Yurong and Lu Ruyan straightened my collar of their own accord, and Su Wanqing brought breakfast she'd made to my lips. Qin Muxue and Bai Xiuzhu traded a look and smiled, helpless and fond. The household's map had expanded again. From then the courtyard entered its golden age of harmony. Bai Xiuzhu and Lu Ruyan, 2 gentle, capable women, ran the household airtight. The cooking new every day, the whole family rosy-faced. Qin Muxue worked her gifts as political advisor and foreign minister both, bringing home the latest papers and policy news, keeping my standing with the commune and the station rock solid. Yilan became my most loyal guard captain, drilling hard, then shadowing me everywhere. Su Wanqing turned family doctor, her gentle hands good for needles and dressings, and, of an evening, a fine massage. And Zhou Yurong, the once loveliest woman in Qingshi, with her heart not undone, let out all the charm she'd kept buried, teaching the children songs, playing the pipa for me on summer afternoons in a cool Cheongsam, an eye that pulled at the soul. Lin Wanner and the 2 girls became the household's 3 pampered little princesses, carefree days on end. And I lived like an old emperor with a court of beauties, spreading the dew evenly, as the head of the house's one firm principle. So buried in this softness, I near forgot the troubles outside. One day, dozing under the new grape arbor out back, my head in Zhou Yurong's lap, while she pressed my temples and Su Wanqing worked my feet, Qianyud came hurrying in, barely holding his excitement. Lord Lin, great news. The greatest news. What's got you in such a state? I didn't open my eyes. It's the provincial capital. A letter from shopkeeper's son. I sat up and read it. 2 big matters. First, grain. Son, working the 100 Herb Hall's connections, had quietly stockpiled over 500,000 caddies of all kinds of grain in a warehouse outside the capital, and the number was still climbing. With that under me, the sky could fall, and I'd sleep easy. The second surprised me. Professor Zhou, much restored after the ginseng reed, wanted the main route badly, but knew such a treasure goes to the one fated for it, and can't be forced. To thank me, and to draw closer to this remarkable man, he joined several other eminent old experts to host a private, rare medicines and antiquities exchange in the capital next weekend, and sent me, through Sun, a top-grade invitation. Come and bring my collection. A rare medicines and antiquities exchange. I knew what that really was, a small circle gathering of the richest and most powerful, trading thing for thing, each taking what he needed. Everyone there would be someone who could make the province tremble with a stamp of his foot. Zhou thought highly of me, to ask, Lord Lin, this is a once-in-a-lifetime chance. Qian said, get into that circle and you'll walk the capital sideways. I wasn't interested in circles or connections. But the exchange itself caught me, because besides the ginseng, my storage held plenty of oddities scavenged from the Black Wind Range that I couldn't even name. The faint glowing Tai Sui growth, a few oddly patterned nuggets of doghead gold from deep in the caves. Maybe I'd take a look and turn some of it into harder currency. Then the letter's last lines caught me. Son, in a gossipy aside. By the way, Lord Lin, you'll remember Professor Zhou's favorite student, Lu Shuiyao? Her family's arranged a match for her, a son of Deputy Director Zhang of the capital, named Zhang Hao. Well-matched houses. Word is they'll be engaged, and the timing's right around the exchange, at the capital's grandest peace hotel. Quite the affair. Lu Shuiyao. Engaged. The stubborn, bright figure on the snow mountain rose in my mind, and the jade pendant carved with mandarin ducks, the one I'd refused. A slow, amused curl pulled at my mouth. I turned to the women chattering in the yard about dinner. Stop fussing. Go dig out your finest clothes, every one of you. Next weekend, we drive to the capital. The capital? They froze. That's right, I said, a watching the show light in my eyes. To attend an exchange. And while we're at it, to see how other people drink at a wedding. The news threw the courtyard into a froth. The capital? What's it like? I heard it's got electric lights, bright as day at night. To them, the capital was Paris, New York, endless longing. Look at the small fry you all are, I said from the rocker, Su Wanqing kneading my shoulders. It's just the capital. We can go whenever, like visiting your mother's house. More worshipful looks. But, dressed like this, won't we look like bumpkins, shame you? Bai Xiuzhu fretted over her clean but rural clothes. The others worry too. Shame me. I opened my eyes and let my gaze move over them. Bai Xiuzhu's gentle ripeness. Qin Mushue's cadre crispness over those long legs. Yilan's panther fitness. Su Wanqing's soft sweetness. Lu Rian and Zhou Yurong like a white lotus and a peony in bloom, each lovely in her own way. Zhou Yurong especially, restored now to her peak, needed only to stand there and slide a fox-eyed glance to pull the soul out of a man. With heavenly creatures like you on my arm, I gained face. How would I lose it? I pulled Zhou Yurong into my lap. But, going to the capital, our gear should get an upgrade. I turned to Qin Mushue. You've got the connections. Bring the best tailor in town to the house. And get Qian Yud to bring back the finest cloth from the capital, silk, foreign weave, whatever there is. I want every one of you in the most fashionable, most beautiful clothes there are. I'll let the so-called society ladies of the capital see what a real beauty looks like. The days that followed turned the courtyard into a private couture house. The town's most famous old tailor came, fitting the madams, with trembling hands and eyes that nearly bugged out. Qian Yud, by means I won't ask after, really did bring back top-grade cloth most people had never seen, silk in 7 or 8 colors. And a fashion show ran under my direction, by Xiuzhu in pale violet cheongsam to suit her temperament, Qin Mushue in tailored trousers for those legs, Yilan in fighting dress, Su Wanqing in goose yellow like a little fairy. And Lu Ruyan, I weighed a bolt of fire-red silk against her. You wear this. A fitted cheongsam, the most flattering cut. I want that flame red to burn the charm right out of your bones. The day we set out for the capital was clear, and the courtyard gate hosted a sight to make all of Qingshi stare. At the head, my three-wheeler polished to a shine, and behind it, a brand-new army green GAZ 69 Jeep, bought off a retired officer through Qian Yud at the sky-high price of 3 gold bars. In this era, a Jeep was a county magistrate's ride, rarer than a Rolls in a later age. When I fired up the bike and Qin Mushue the Jeep, a mini convoy, the whole lane gaped. Heaven above, another iron lump? For wheels this time. Same as Secretary Li's ride. Just how much treasure does Hero Lin's house have? I led on the bike. Behind, Qin Mushue drove the Jeep packed with carefully dressed beauties, while Yilan and Lin Wanner rode the sidecar, thrilled by the wind. The capital was a different world to them. Tall buildings, wide roads, fashionable crowds. I drove the convoy to a quiet estate in the western suburbs, the exchange's venue, guarded tight. Everyone in and out genuinely powerful. I showed Zhou Wenba's handwritten invitation, and the guards went stiff with respect and ushered us in. Inside, the great were gathered, cadres in tunic suits, scholars in gold-rimmed glasses, old physicians in long gowns with an immortal air. And when I walked in with my wives' delegation, the murmuring hall went silent. Every eye locked onto the women, and on the one at the center, Court of Stars, in fire red, Zhou Yurong. She stood still and made every so-called society lady in the room look like common rouge. The men's throats worked. The other women's eyes filled with envy. Whose ladies are those? Never seen them. And that man's no big shot by his clothes, humph. A pack of fox spirits. Then a delighted voice cut in. Comrade Lin Xiao, you came at last. Professor Zhou, red-faced and beaming, came striding through a knot of scholars. That the venerable Zhou received him in person so warmly stunned the room. Every eye on me changed. Let me introduce him, Zhou said, proud, hand on mine. This is the man I've told you about. The one who saved our lives in the Black Wind Range with his extraordinary skill. A true recluse master. Awe and curiosity all around. And in a corner, Lu Shuiyao came round with a glass of juice and froze when she saw me, her bright eyes filling at once with tears and a vast, wrong joy. He really came. Then a haughty voice came from behind the professor. Teacher, aren't you overpraising him? A lucky country hunter who knows a few mountain tricks. How does that make a master? Heads turned to a young man in a tunic suit and gold-rimmed glasses, sneering at me. Zhao Yu. And beside him another arrogant young man his age, Lu Shuiao's fiancé, Zhang Hao. Zhao Yu, watch your mouth. Zhou snapped, face going dark. Teacher, I only speak the truth, Zhao pressed, not knowing death when he courted it. This is a high gathering for scholars and experts to exchange. Letting a coarse hunter in, I fear it lowers the whole affair. Naked contempt, meant to humiliate me before everyone. Payback for the mountain. Zhang Hao watched, arms folded with a cold, amused smile, content to use Zhao's mouth to crush this rival sprung from nowhere. Qin Muxue and Yi Lan bristled and made to step up. I stopped them with a glance. I wasn't angry. I didn't even look at the two clowns. I just smiled at the mortified professor and drew something from my coat. Not a treasure, not a weapon. A card, jet black, exquisite, a gold-line 100-herb hall mark on it. The black gold card. I handed it, offhand, to a registration clerk. I hear today's expenses are all charged to this card. Correct? The clerk's pupils shrank the instant he saw it. He took it in both hands, abjectly humble. Why yes, Mr. Lin. Shopkeeper's son gave word. You're the 100-herb hall's most honored guest. Everything you and your companions spend today is the hall's account, in full. The hall erupted. The 100-herb hall was the Mount Tai of the province's medicine trade. Vast wealth, fathomless backing. Its black gold card was the stuff of legend. They said no more than 3 people in the whole province held one, every one of them able to make the province tremble. And this country hunter had it. And the entire exchange, venue to wine. Was the hall footing the bill to entertain him alone? Zhao Yu and Zhang Hao went blank, jaws open, their proud pedigrees ground to nothing against a card that meant absolute money and standing. Zhang Hao's haughty face went liver purple. He just mocked the man as a country hunter, and the man was the true host of the top gathering in the capital. Lower the affair. I turned at last and gave the two a look you'd give garbage. The likes of you. Fit to talk to me about an affair? Pure humiliation, but not one soul in the hall thought me arrogant. Because I had the right. The two went cold, choked with shame, unable to fire back a word. And as the room hit that frozen point, the host, a famed auctioneer, climbed the stage and cleared his throat, his voice shaking with excitement. Honored guests, I now present the most precious item of this exchange, provided by our esteemed 100-herb hall's supreme guest, Mr. Lin Xiao, a king ginseng. And 2 clerks bore a red-draped tray onto the dais. At the word king ginseng, the hall ignited, every eye fixed on the red cloth. A king ginseng? In this day and age? The hall vetted it, and how old is it? The host, flushed near to worship, lifted the cloth, and an overwhelming medicine fragrance flooded the room. Everyone who breathed it felt their spirit lift. And when they saw the root itself, yellow-brown, shaped uncannily like a man, limbs and features all there, the beard roots dense and tough, pearl dots clear along them, they drew breath together. A white-haired old physician shook so hard his teacup hit the floor. The reed bowl tight, the lines like spirals, the beard sparse and long, the pearl dots round and full. This is a pure wild ginseng of 300 years and more. 300 years. It went off in the crowd like a bomb. 100-year ginseng they'd heard of, maybe seen in a picture. But a 300-year king? That wasn't medicine. That was legend, a life-extending fairy grass. Zhou wept openly, peering through reading glasses, murmuring, "It's the one. 100 times more marvelous than I dreamed." Zhao Yu and Zhang Hao were finished. They stared at the priceless king, then at me, ringed like a god yet perfectly unbothered, and the last of their pride was ground to nothing under its blazing light. A man who could pull out the hall's black gold card had been despair enough. Now a 300-year king too. Zhang Hao went bone white and felt, suddenly, that his deputy director father was an ant before this fathomless man. Then the great men went mad. They crowded me with wine cups and fawning smiles. The textile chief, the department store boss, all of them, because they all understood one thing. Money and power matter, but next to life, what are they? And the man who could produce a 300-year king was, beyond doubt, a man who could hold their lives in his hand. At the peak of it, a middle-aged man in uniform with stars on his shoulders came through, led by Zhou. A battle-forged iron came off him that hushed the noise. "Comrade Lin Xiao, Long Weigua, I've come from the capital." The capital. Something stirred in me. We shook hands. "I come on behalf of my unit and several high-placed old chiefs," he said, eyes like knives, glancing at the king. "That ginseng has unusual meaning for us and for the country. We hope you'll transfer it to us." His tone went earnest. "We won't shortchange you. Name your terms, money, position, anything we can do. Not a simple trade." An olive branch from above. The hall held its breath. And I looked at the officer, at the priceless king, and smiled in a way none of them expected. "Chief Long, you can have the king. And I won't take a cent." The hall reeled. Has he lost his mind? Not a cent. It went off like a depth charge. Dead silence. Everyone looked at me like a madman. A 300-year king, a fairy grass worth a fortune, given away just like that? Even Long Weigua, who'd seen storms, blinked. Then his eyes filled with appreciation and a wariness. "A free thing is often the most expensive." "Comrade Lin Xiao, what do you mean?" "Simple. This king I got from the Black Wind Range, a gift of this land. To do a small part for the nation's heroes, for the old chiefs who guarded their country, is my honor." Flawless, sky-high. The hall was struck dumb by the lofty disdain for money. Zhou pounded Long's arm, face red. See? See? I told you. A true recluse master. A real hero who holds fame and gain as dirt. But then I turned it. Only, I won't take money. But I've liked a wager since I was small." "A wager?" Long's brow lifted. "That's right." My gaze went past the crowd and landed, dead on Zhang Hao, ashen, wishing for a crack in the floor. "I hear that tomorrow, Deputy Director Zhang's son is to hold an engagement banquet with Professor Zhou's beloved student, Comrade Lu Shuiyao, at the Peace Hotel." "Correct." Zhang Hao shuddered, stepping back. Lu Shuiyao went pale. She'd never dreamed I'd raise it here. "I like joining in the fun," I said, eyeing Zhang Hao with provocation. "So I'll wager young Master Zhang. The bet, whether Comrade Lu Shuiyao shows up at that engagement banquet tomorrow. If she goes, one finger up, the king is yours, free, my gift to the happy couple. But if she doesn't," my voice went cold and iron, "then you still take the king. I want no money, no promise. I want only." I pointed at Zhang Hao, word by word. Him, on his knees, 3 kowtows to me, before all the society of the capital, admitting his skills don't measure up. The hall blew apart. He was wagering a priceless 300-year king on a woman's heart, and on Deputy Director Zhang's own future daughter-in-law. This was no bet. It was the rawest, most lawless declaration of bride snatching, grinding the Zhang family's face into the dirt before the whole capital. So arrogant. So domineering. You. Zhang Hao shook, liver purple, never in his life so humiliated. He wanted to explode, but looking into my eyes, cold and feelingless, and at Long Weigua beside me, he didn't dare. And Lu Shuiyao was struck dumb, heart full of shock and a feeling she'd never known. She knew this was no wager. It was a choice. Submit to the family and marry a man she didn't love, a gilded cage life, or follow her heart to a man of mystery, strength, and endless possibility, even bearing the name of a girl who broke an engagement. She had no hesitation at all. Then came an unexpected assist. I object. Zhao Yu burst out like a madman, pointing at me. At Zhang Hao, eyes blood red. Why? Why should Xu Yao have to choose between you two? You, at Zhang Hao. What do you have but a good father? You don't deserve her. And you, at me. You think a little dirty money and skill let you do as you please? Xu Yao is a person, not a chip for your bets. His righteous-sounding speech backfired. Zhang Hao went green with rage. I looked at him like an idiot. And Zhou shook with fury, jabbing at his student. Muddled fool. Zhao Yu ignored everyone, rushed to Lu Shuiyao, gripped her shoulders. Shuiyao, don't be afraid. Neither of them will make you happy. Come with me. Back to school, to our research. That's the road we should walk. He thought the confession would move her. She only looked at him with disappointment and a thread of pity, and gently pulled free. Then she did the thing no one expected. She walked to neither Zhang Hao nor Zhao Yu, but limped, slow and utterly sure, step by step, to my side. Before everyone, she took my arm. Then she looked up at me, startled myself, a little, and broke into a smile that put the flowers to shame. Lin Xiao, she said, soft but clear enough for the whole room. I choose you. I don't need to wait for tomorrow. I'll go with you now. The world hit mute. Everyone gaped at the pair under the dais lights. One. Just like that? The man called Lin Xiao hadn't even waited for the banquet. He'd won the towering wager in the most direct, shattering way, snatching the Zhang family's future daughter-in-law from their hands before the whole capital. Not a slap. A face ground into the floor and scoured with steel wool. You. Zhang Hao had gone from liver purple to ash, shaking, not a word coming out. His assist, Zhao Yu, stood blank, watching the girl take another man's arm without a backward glance, his world collapsing. He'd thought himself a hero saving a beauty. To everyone else, he was a self-deluded clown. Good. Long Weiguo broke the silence with a laugh and a clap, eyes full of open admiration. This young man was fathomless in strength and ruthless and unbound in action. The kind who, turned to the nation's use, made a peerless weapon. He clapped my shoulder. Comrade Lin Xiao, I admire you. We'll take the king. The military owes you this favor. He glanced at the wrecked Zhang Hao, a flick of contempt. As for certain people's wager, we soldiers keep our word. A final verdict on the Zhang family's fate. Zhang Hao couldn't bear it and fainted dead away. That night, I didn't leave the capital. I put up my delegation and the new reservist Lu Shuiyao in the Peace Hotel's grandest suite. The Zhang family came apart. The broken engagement news flew through high society, and they became a joke, and worse, felt the military's pressure. That night, Deputy Director Zhang took several courtesy calls from the capital and the military compound, the cold tone enough to sweat him through. His son had kicked an iron plate that ran all the way to heaven. Next morning, over a lavish breakfast by Xiuzhu and Zhou Yurong had laid out, a knock came. Deputy Director Zhang stood at the door with his ashen son, abjectly bowing, a red-wrapped, heavy brocade box in hand. Mr. Lin, my boy gave offense. I beg your great magnanimity. And he drove a kick into the back of Zhang Hao's knee. The young man dropped to his knees before me. Wretch, kowtow to Mr. Lin and beg pardon. Zhang Hao shook, never so humiliated in his life, but under his father's murderous eye, didn't dare resist and ground his head to the floor. Lu Shuiyao, stepping out, caught it all, the fiancé who'd been so lofty yesterday now kneeling like a stray dog, and her heart filled with a feeling past words, most of all of vast, unprecedented satisfaction. Lin Xiao was winning back every ounce of justice for her, his own way. I said nothing, just looked down at him, cold, until he'd knocked his head 3 times and split his brow, then spoke. I've accepted the wager. I nodded at the box. What's that? A small token of apology from my son, Zhang said, opening it. 2 things lay inside. 1, a thick stack of property and land deeds, addresses in the capital's busiest districts, shops and courtyards. The other, a jet black, antique Mauser C96 in a fine holster, a box cannon, with 2 full magazines. Qin Muxue and Yi Lan drew breath. A heavy hand, the Zhangs played, deeds for wealth, a properly sourced box cannon for force, both buying my pardon. My eye lingered on the well-kept Mauser a moment, satisfied. I had a rifle, but it wasn't easy to carry. A pistol raised my safety considerably. I'll take them, I said flatly. Now get out. Yes. Yes. Zhang hauled up his stunned son and fled.